All right. We are here. It's a brand new week. And the Xbox 2 podcast is hitting you with the episode 415. Hopefully, everything sounds good. I did have like a whole new bunch of stuff happen, fixed. So we're not in the same position as we were last couple weeks. So make sure, tell me in chat if everything sounds good, and Jez will let me know because every time I move over to chat, it completely crashes. It's something to do with my PC. I don't know what it is. Like when I have YouTube chat open, my like CPU spikes to like 80 degrees. It's so weird.
It's Chrome.
Well, it can't be Chrome because I'm using Edge.
Oh, it's Edge.
Yeah, it's Microsoft. Damn it. But
God
yeah.
damn it.
It's good to be back. It's good to be live again. It's good to be with the Xbox 2 community. It's good to be with you, Mr. Jez Corden, Windows Central, coming
Hello.
off his back-to-back podcasts. What's going on?
Indeed. Yeah, I'm doing all right. It's been a busy week. Things are starting to quieten down a bit for the summer, but yeah, I met with Microsoft at 3 a.m. the other day because of the cloud gaming stuff, and they were like, "Hey, we got some news for you." And I was like, "Cool. Let's talk about it." And they were like, "Oh yeah, can you do 3 in the morning?" I was like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, it's been my sleep cycle's absolutely cooked right now because of it, but it was worth it because it was a pretty big deal, right? But
Eh,
yeah, rocking and rolling,
eh,
rocking and rolling. I think it's a bigger deal than people realize, personally.
I mean, there's a lot of slippery slope elements to it, which I'm sure we'll discuss. Although I did
I
see a
don't know if
lot
I
of,
agree with that.
I did see a lot of people confused about how it's going to work and
Mm.
all those other sort of things, and the idea of like I don't know. I've definitely seen some alarmist takes on it. I've seen people be like, "God damn it, Xbox! You had PlayStation beat, and now you announce ads with games. What the hell you do?" You know, like
It's so dumb.
whatever.
It's really
But
fucking dumb, bro. I'm
I
sorry, it's
mean,
dumb. Anyone putting those takes out there, dumb. Sorry, dumb.
so
But we'll get into that.
we got some good Halo campaign Evolve footage here. Just kind of doing the first two levels. I didn't want to show any of the bonus mission stuff for people who haven't played it yet because it's brand new, so I didn't want to spoil it for people. But like the first couple levels, I think a lot of people know what they are. Although this one I'm playing campaign remix, so you will see flood and weapons you're not supposed to be able to use in the beginning levels, which is actually kind of cool. But keep that in mind. But anyways, Jez, outside of all that, how you doing? You doing all right? You doing good?
Yeah, not bad. I'm ready for the weekend, put it that way. But I've got a lot of games I want to play right now. A lot of games I'm trying to review. I've got a bunch of games I'm previewing as well. So it's a good time, actually. A lot of good work going on at Windows Central, despite the AI destroying the business, But can't do anything about that.
Yeah. No, I guess you can't, can you?
Nope,
I guess you can't.
sure can't.
So, I do want to point out really quickly, and maybe he's listening, maybe he's not, Mr. Donataku.
Oh no, I know where this is
Celebrated.
going.
A lot of people celebrated when you bought your Switch 2 for as you said it was for Star Fox. Which have you played Star Fox?
I have.
So did you beat it?
Yes, I
I
did.
mean, it is only like 2 hours long, right? So I mean,
Yes, it is. And
did you
it's
did you
my
have
muscle memory was all there, and it was just like, oh, this is exactly the same as I remember,
did
which is a good and bad thing, I suppose.
did you have buyer's remorse at all?
You could say that.
Oh. And so what have you done, Jez? Let the people know. So Jez went out and he's like, I bought a Nintendo Switch 2. I'm a Nintendo gamer now. Look at me. Because of Star Fox, not StarCraft.
Oh
So he
dear.
beat the game. Didn't, hasn't played Donkey Kong, hasn't played any of the other Nintendo Switch games or whatever.
Mm.
But what have you done
No,
with your
I played Metroid
Switch
Dread as
2?
well.
What have you done with your Switch 2?
I put my Switch 2 on eBay.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh. You listen to
it's
this,
it's
Donataku?
going. Yeah, it's
Listen
going.
to
It's
this.
going.
He's already given up on the
It's
Switch 2, Don.
yeah. I've given up. I've just been like, you know what? I can't really justify the spend for just a couple of games. And I
Mm.
was like, do I really care about Ocarina of Time remake? Not really. Do I care about Donkey Kong or Kirby or Mario? Not really. Am I really just gonna sit here and use it for like the off chance that they put out another real Star Fox
What
game?
about the new FromSoft game,
Or
Dustbloods? Huh?
I
Huh?
don't. It's some multiplayer, isn't it? I don't really care about that either.
Wow.
I'm just like,
You've
I'm
let
out.
all of
I'm
Xbox
out.
2's community who are Nintendo fans down right now. I can feel their
Have
pain.
yeah.
I mean,
It's over.
how
It's
many
over.
people went out and bought a Nintendo Switch 2 based off your recommendation?
Probably I would hope zero. I didn't recommend it.
Yeah, no, that is true. You
Mm,
didn't. You just were like, "Oh my god, Star
mm.
Fox, my childhood. I gotta get it."
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it was nostalgia. They got me, man. They got me with the nostalgia, but now it's probably going to be sold off to, some kid who wants to have it for his birthday, but the parents can't afford it, so they get it a little bit cheaper. So it'll go to a good place, I hope. Go to a
mm,
nice home. Um, yeah, I don't know. It is what it is.
yeah, I love it. I love the fact that you bought it and basically got rid of it already.
Oh
That's so
man,
funny to
I
me.
just
That's so funny.
I just like in all the times where I sit down and I'm sitting there like, what do I want to play right now? I just always think, oh, I want to play an Xbox Play Anywhere game with my vastly more powerful Xbox Ally X. It's like I don't want to play these blurry ass, slow, 24 frames a second Nintendo games. I just want to play like, you know, better games. And the Xbox Ally X has kind of spoiled me. So now I just kind of that's where I am. There's not enough games on the Switch that appeal to me. It's a good system. It feels good in the hand. It's like it's got really great software. It's a good experience. But I think you really have to be a Nintendo fan to want it. I think just for like regular people who just don't really care that much about Nintendo stuff, there's absolutely no point buying it. So I kind of knew deep down there was no point me buying it because I'm not a big enough fan of their stuff. So that's kind of where I am. Doom Ruffy in chat says, Rand, buy it from Jez. Do you want it? Do you want to buy
No,
my Switch, Rand?
I do not
No?
want. I do not want your. Don't they also region lock switches, or am I mistaken on that?
You can. They don't. You can set it to United States, and
Oh,
then
okay.
it's based on your Switch account, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I don't have any interest. There's nothing on the Switch 2 that interests me enough to spend the type of money that it would be to play it. I mean, like the only
mm,
things I would want maybe are Metroid Prime 4, which the reviews weren't very kind for that. Maybe
yeah,
and
that's kind of yeah.
I don't care about Mario, I don't care about Zelda, like I don't care about Donkey Kong and stuff, so it's like,
Mm,
I mean if someone wants to send it to me for free, I'll take it and maybe I'll play some of those games, but I'm not going to spend my money on it cuz look, I had all three systems last generation. The first time I had all three systems since god, the PS2 3 the PS2 the PS2 generation. It was like I had the PS2, the original Xbox, and the GameCube. And even then, like I barely used the GameCube. It was just like for Metroid Prime, and I did play Wind Waker and stuff. So Resident Evil 4. That's one of the reasons why I did buy the GameCube because Resident Evil was exclusive. Remember? Like they made that
yeah.
huge, and I was a massive Resident Evil fan. I mean, I'm still a massive Resident Evil fan. So when they said it's exclusive to
Resi good.
GameCube, I was like, well, I gotta get a GameCube because I gotta play Resident Evil. And then they remade Resident Evil 1, and then Resident Evil 4 was exclusive, and I forget what was it, Mikami that said like if this shows up in the PS2, I'll saw my head off or whatever it was.
Wait, what?
He
What did
had
he say?
he had some quote like that, or maybe it's not Mikami, maybe it was actually I think it might have been where he basically was like it's not coming to PS2, and if it does, I'll like chainsaw my head off, and then a year later
Damn,
it
what
came
do you
to
have
the
against PlayStation?
well, I think it was Capcom probably went over his head, and I don't know the finer details of it, but it eventually
Mm,
came to PS2, of course. Um,
fair, fair,
but I
fair,
mean, that
fair.
was the reason I bought it specifically for that, and so I didn't really play any other games on it besides a handful. Same thing with the OG Xbox. Like I played the exclusives. I played the Halos. Um, I played like Jade City and Knights of the Republic and stuff like that. Like, and everything else I played on PlayStation on the PS2, and that sort of
Hmm.
obviously switched during the 360 gen. I didn't get a PS3, but yeah, when you have like the three systems, or even now you have all three plus a PC, one's gonna get the majority of your attention,
Yeah, it's
and
just
the other
there's
ones
physically
just
not enough
aren't.
time. Like,
So
yeah, it's like I was clean. What sparked it for me was I was cleaning the other day. I sort of I try to do a big clean like every week at least, like vacuum and dust and everything. So it gets pretty dusty in here. And I came to clean my desk, and it's like, damn, Switch is really dusty already. It just sparked that sort of like, I ain't gonna use this. It's just gonna sit here gathering dust. It's just gonna be something else to clean. And I just thought, I've got an Xbox Ally, and I've got a PC, and I've got an Xbox. It's physically not enough time. And you'll be proud of me, Rand. Maybe Joaquin will be proud of me if he's in chat. But yesterday evening, instead of playing a game, I actually read a book, a paper book made of paper and cardboard
yeah.
with ink printed letters.
Ooh.
And yeah, so I've been trying to like
I
digitally
I guess I my
diversify a bit.
habits have been kind of rubbing off on you, huh?
Yeah, a little bit, man. But my girlfriend's been reading a bunch as well, and I was just kind of like, man, everyone I know is reading these days. I want to read. I want to be smart. So yeah, I read a book, and it was felt enriched, Rand. I feel
Mm.
enriched. I feel smart now. I just think like, you know what? I should get a pipe and get a nice leather chair and have like a nice little glass of whiskey and have a book and a little
Just
smoke of
sit
a
back and
cigar or something.
relax, bro. Put your feet up. Just
Yeah, yeah,
relax.
no
Tune
stress.
out all the
Yeah,
noise and just it's
yeah.
great.
The book was a bit stressful actually, um, but I think part of it is like a lot. I realize as well, like, and this is a me problem, but a lot of the games I play these days are for work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of game journalists probably go through this sort of idea where it's like, you know, I'm at my computer all day, I'm on my desk all day, I'm playing games for work, I'm writing about games. Sometimes it starts feeling like if you're playing a game, especially that isn't fun, but you're playing it for work and it's not fun, it's kind of like, oh man, I kind of want to do something else for a change. Oh, I also went for a walk, man. I went to a forest and I walked in a forest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna become Zen and analog, bro. But I think it's good to try different things, but no room in life for Switch.
Yeah.
People in chat are asking what book it was called. We Used to Live Here, and apparently it's going to be a Netflix show, but it was a creepy sort of horror kind of book. It was
I've
good.
not
It
read
was
that
alright.
one, but I've read his next book, which was called The Caretaker, which was enjoyable. I
Yeah.
mean, I wouldn't say it was great, but I think on Goodreads, see, like I kind of keep track of my Goodreads. Um, like I keep track of what I read, and I'll rate it. So they only let you rate in stars, right? One star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star. So no half stars or
Yeah.
anything. So like that Caretaker book, I would say is like a 3.5. But so it's like, do I rate it a 3 when I think it's a 3.5, or do I rate it a 4? So I rated it a 4, but knowing that it's like, it's 3.5. But so I like rate all my stuff there just to remember what I've read and stuff, because I think I'm like 11 books this month. It's been going on, man. Because I've completely changed my sleep schedule. Uh, so doing a lot of stuff. So it's like I have more time in the day to do some other things. So, and one of those is reading, and I always try to at least read 100 pages a day before I do other stuff. But yeah, um, I don't know if anybody wants to follow me on Goodreads. DM me on Twitter. I've actually had a few people ask me if they could, and I said yeah. I have had someone email me. So if you want to like follow what I'm doing on Goodreads, you can DM me on Twitter, or maybe at me on the Discord, and I'll get back to you with the link in case you want to see what I'm reading or whatever. Or maybe you know what? Maybe I'll give you the link and you can throw it in the Patreon like
Yeah, I'll do
post
that.
or something. But anyways, uh, let's get it going, Jez. Let's do some housekeeping, shall we?
Let's do it.
So no ad read this week, but our sponsor is, as you guys know, currently Surfshark, where they still have the wonderful deal for our listeners where if you go over there and sign up, surfshark.net/XB2, you get 86% off a 2-year deal. 2 years is a long time, and you need to protect yourself on the internet. So it helps us out directly, which is fantastic. And of course, we have our Patreon members, which Jez did a Xbox 2+1, although -1 because I couldn't make it because I had family stuff going on Tuesday with Zalker. So if you guys want, how'd that go with Zalker? Did you guys have
Oh
fun?
yeah, me and Zulka did the Xbox 2 Plus show on
Xbox 2
Tuesday.
plus 1 -1.
Yeah. Rand couldn't make it, unfortunately, but me and Zulka had it out. Zulka works in the tech industry. I didn't know this, but he works in the tech industry, like, pretty high up, like, comp sci kind of dude. So it was very interesting hearing Zulka's take on layoffs and, the current state of the economy and why these things happen. So he knew, he provided some surprisingly insightful commentary on all that kind of stuff. We talked games, and we have similar taste in games and similar opinions about
Yeah, you both are
the current
because the fanboys
trajectory.
who like horrible games.
Yeah, and he likes Xbox Ally and all the rest of it. So yeah, it was a good show. It was really cool, and thanks to Zulka for dropping by. That's going to be public next week, but it's already up on Patreon if anyone wants to check it out.
Yeah. The question and answer thread is up for anybody that wants to drop us a line. We'll answer at the end of the show. And Jez, since there's no ad read today, how about you read the Patreon names?
Sure, give me one moment.
All
So
right.
yes, we are sponsored as well by the lovely fine folks at Patreon. Like Rand said, it's a little bit cheaper now. There's also a weekly newsletter there, which I do every Sunday, which gives you some back behind the scenes insights and and quick heads up on some news things that are coming next week. If you read the newsletter from a couple of weeks ago, you would have got a heads up on what was going to be happening with the layoffs, for example. I put that in my newsletter. So shout outs go to Adam Bartolo, Aloran Grogu, Asatia Madison, Bad Haddock, Briggs Country, Bright 101, Silas, Deku 2511, Discarded Caboose, NX, Governor Grimm, I Am Chuck Dub, I Mike Zero, In the Machine, James Moore, James Wezo, Justin Duell, Just James 93, K-Triox, Lazar Wolf, Murray, Pat Rock, Frosty, Psycho Mantis, Randall 419, RS Donks, Sean Kramer, Shay Elephant, Shrapnel, Tricks of a Tray, Vito Chiaramonte, Wagaman, Wolfgang KPZ, and Youngblood8. Thank you all so much for being on our VIP and MVP track on Patreon. And yeah, and everyone else who's on Patreon too.
Yes. Thank you all for your support. So, what do you want to start here, Jez? I mean, there's some small things I kind of wanted to just briefly mention, I guess. Tomb Raider Catalyst got delayed to 2028, which I guess is really no surprise considering the Tomb Raider OG remake is February. So I kind of felt that the actual new Tomb Raider wasn't gonna. I guess maybe there was a slight like, oh well, maybe it could hit November, October, but it got delayed to 2028.
Isn't that the game that everyone says is using AI or something?
Well, I mean, it is published by Amazon. I don't really know their stance on AI. Maybe, possibly.
There was some controversy about that, but I don't know.
Potentially,
Maybe
I don't really know. I mean, I do like Tomb Raider as a franchise quite a bit, so I am looking forward to playing the remake in February quite a lot actually, because I do like Tomb Raider 1, and I really think Crystal Dynamics is a pretty good dev. Like I really enjoyed the Tomb Raider reboot series that they did. I even enjoyed some of like Marvel Avengers, and not all of it, like not like the multiplayer aspect of it, but for the most part, I enjoyed the campaign. So I think they're a pretty good dev. And I remember, I know there was at one point before Xbox bought like Bethesda and all these studios, I was like, well, maybe they should buy a Square Enix West, which was, I think at the time, like what, IO Interactive, Crystal Dynamics, and like Eidos Montreal. And then they got sold to, who'd they get sold to? Embracer? Well, like IO went independent, which is probably the best thing for them because Hitman blew up and now they have James Bond.
Yes.
But maybe not so much for Crystal Dynamics and Eidos, because it seems like Eidos Montreal has kind of been relegated to mostly co-dev work. There was like a Deus Ex game in development that got canceled, and
yeah,
Crystal Dynamics was working on Perfect Dark, and well, we know what happened with that. So, But I'm still looking forward to the Tomb Raider games. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Crystal Dynamics Tomb Raider games were okay. They didn't blow my mind or anything, but it's kind of one of them. Like, I don't know how much I don't know. I don't know how much I like sort of trust Embracer Group to deliver a high quality game these days. I don't know.
I mean, sure, absolutely. Another little small thing here. Ghost Recon Wildlands Definitive Edition is kind of leaked, and Ubisoft does have some like Ghost Recon event happening in August. So it sounds like they're
Mm.
going to put that out. They did mention that Assassin's Creed Black Flag has exceeded their expectations. They announced like it sold 3.5 million copies already. So I sort of wonder if we're gonna get more remakes. Like they did do it wasn't like a Division remake, but like they bundled all the stuff together and people were disappointed with that. And this one's more like Ghost Recon Wildlands, judging from like the talk behind it, seems like it's more of a remaster. Like it's gonna run 4K 60 now, which it couldn't before on last gen. And I think they're
Right.
adding new missions and it includes all the DLC. So it's kind of just like an upgraded version for this generation, where like Assassin's Creed Black Flag is like a proper remake because they added a whole bunch of stuff. There's
I
a part
still
of
want
me
to try that.
there's a part of me that wonders, and I think Ubisoft even said something along the lines of that like it's easier to make money with remakes than like proper new games or whatever. Which, sure, I mean, because you're already like you're selling something that people already love, and if you do have like a new game, you're not
Don't
really
have to market it.
I mean, they did market Assassin's Creed Black Flag pretty often. I mean,
Yeah,
it
but
was a
like
lot of the
I think
shows
the
and stuff.
cost. What do they call it? The cost of user acquisition is lower because you don't have to educate people on what it is. You just be like,
Sure,
oh yeah,
sure.
we've remade this thing you already know about.
And you're
You
already
know?
like,
I don't
yeah.
know.
And like the
Yeah.
the bones of the game are already there. You don't have to really like build everything out from scratch. But I mean,
Yeah.
it is. I had a lot of fun with it. I had to put it down to play Halo, so I'm gonna get back to that after I find all the skulls and the terminals and all the little nooks and crannies of stuff in Halo Combat Evolved that I didn't get to in my first playthrough.
What do the terminals do exactly? Because I found a bunch of
Terminals
them
have
and
like more lore.
they
Like
don't.
when you go back to the menu, there's like it's like a data dump stuff,
Oh, okay.
more lore
'Cause I
stuff.
found a bunch of terminals and I was like, hang on, it didn't do anything. I
Yeah, no, it's like
didn't realize you had
the
to go on the. Yeah,
the
my
terminals
bad.
just kind of give like background information on things. Some of them,
Fair enough.
I think I forget when they first
They were in the
started
older
doing
game,
Halo.
right?
Yeah, they've been in a lot of the Halo games for
Yeah.
sure. And then Goma, he basically said it because one of the big still discussions in gaming is about the PlayStation disc stuff, and I think we've talked about it
Mhm.
like almost every week since it happened, just because it's so big and just because there's always sort of new information that comes out every single week about it. It's such a big story that's probably not going to go away. I mean, uh you could already tell like the post that PlayStation puts out, like it is getting like less people are posting towards it, but like each tweet or whatever, but it's not going away. And I think he made some comment that basically like them getting rid of physical is like it's not going to move anything, or it doesn't. He basically said it. It's not going to matter if they get rid of physical. And there was like some information, some data that Matt Piscatella had put out this week, because there was the whole thing about Xbox sales, which we'll get to. Specifically about like the physical stuff, where he said that there were 7 games released this year, only 7 games that released this year that did over 100,000 physical copies, and that was like for all games from all publishers, because people were like, oh, does that mean just PlayStation exclusive games? Does this mean that or whatever? And it's like, no, it's like all the games released on the PlayStation 5. And then people were like, well, because, Jez, as everybody's aware, and I'm sure there's this saying, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie, right?
Yeah.
However, you can make numbers say whatever you want to say. You can kind of like you can. God, it was the word with with OB.
Fusicate.
Obfuscate like how it's presented, and you can sort of make numbers kind of do whatever you want if they're presented in a certain way. So like when people heard that it was like, oh, there's only 7 games that sold over 100,000, people were like, well, one of those games could be 1 million, which yeah, it could be, because if you're just presenting the data of like only 7 sold on 100,000, but you don't know the maximum threshold of it, then it's like, yeah. So like Matt had to come back and say, actually, like the max is 250,000. Like none of them sold above that. Like that's the sort of thing. So there's just plus then today PlayStation Network went down, which, you know, leads to people being like, see, the whole digital future, this is what you're actually, you know, this is what you're all campaigning for. If we get rid of this, we're at the mercy of PlayStation going down and Xbox going down. And it's just like a constant thing that doesn't seem to be, and I mean, it shouldn't go away, because people that really enjoy physical should fight for their rights. They should, you know, cause a stink, and they should vote with their money and their wallet. You know, I don't know how this is going to end up. Well, I mean, I have a guess of how it's going to end up. Sony's not going to address it at all, and they are just going to keep on going the path that they're on, and they're just going to release the PS6 and the handheld, and if you're with them, you're with them, and if you're not and you leave the platform, oh well, to them, whatever. They're probably okay losing X number of players. Alana Pierce put out a video where she talked about like that Sony isn't going to backtrack, and she's a former employee over at the God of War studio, Sony Santa Monica. She was like writing on God of War. LaFew, the new God of War game coming out next year. Laufey.
Luffy.
Yeah. And she said, speaking to employees, that like the PR that Sony put in place about the this stuff was some of the most strict they've ever seen. Basically, like,
yeah, I saw that.
It's all right. Well, I mean, it doesn't sound good for physical bros, and you know, I've said it before. I'm all digital, like, but I still think physical should be an option, and I do want to see gamers kind of take down the billion-dollar corporation, because it's always fun to see. But I just have a feeling it's not going to work in this case. But hey, keep up the fight, right?
Yeah, I mean, the discussion online seems to have turned for the toxic. I mean, I was checking out Tony Polanco's feed, and he said something on a show that seems to have gone viral and pissed off a bunch of people, and it's just like, I really genuinely believe in my heart of hearts that more people are angry about this than actually buy the games. It's like, it's wild to me, man. It's like, I think it's really interesting about gaming discourse in general. You know, like we lean into these trends, and we create these trends ourselves with our purchasing habits. Like, I'm all digital, you're all digital, right? But at the same time, I hate the idea of disc-based games going away, because it's like we're losing an option. And I was talking about this on the Windows Central podcast, right? And I don't want to get too philosophical with it.
Uh-oh.
But I genuinely think...
Are we going deep here, Jez? Are we getting deep?
We're not getting too deep. I'll I'll keep it light.
Surface level?
But surface level. I genuinely think people aspire to have a physical games collection, but they don't have one because nobody can afford a house.
I mean, right? I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
You have a house. You have a house, sir. But I don't have a house.
So how come I don't aspire to have a physical games collection?
Because you are a digital bro. You don't care about having things physically, right? However,
well, no, I mean, I would personally. Well, that's not necessarily true, because all my books are physical.
Well, okay, there you go. You have physical books, but I do genuinely think, like, I personally, right, if I had my own place, I would have a physical games collection.
No, you wouldn't.
But I can't afford I genuinely would.
No, you
wouldn't. I still own all my PS1 games. I still own my PS2 games. I just physically didn't have space
Where are they,
for more.
in storage?
No, they're in a bookcase. I don't physically have any more space. And not only that, my PS1 and PS2 games and my GameCube games, they're like they're double stacked. So like the shelf has like one sort of column of games, and then there's another column of games in there. There's so much stuff crammed into this bookshelf that the wood is sagging. I think it's gonna collapse at some point. But I genuinely think like a lot of the issues with whether it's CDs or Blu-rays or discs or whatever, I think it's because this generation that we're in, the people who would be buying this stuff, nobody can afford their own place. Like there's a there's a storage issue, you know. So I think people are mad because deep down, I think they want to someday potentially have the option, even if they don't buy the discs. I kind of feel like I'm like that. Like why I haven't bought the physical game for a long time, but it's not because I don't want to. It's because I can't, you know. So I think it's sort of like I understand why there's so much anger about this, despite the fact that the trends suggest people don't want it. I think people do want it on some level. They just aren't allowed to have it because of the way society's kind of gone, and that nobody can afford a house anymore. I don't know. That's my kind of crackpot theory about some of this stuff. You know, I think a lot of society's problems right now can be traced back to the housing market. Genuinely, you know, on a lot of different levels, even politically, like the fact that people are all pissed off and stuff. Nah, bro. I think a lot of it's to do with home ownership, man. That's my
Yeah,
theory.
okay, but the rise of digital also, well, the housing stuff wasn't really until recently, and people have been choosing digital. I mean, people have chosen convenience over ownership since like any convenience stuff has been offered. Like people always choose convenience. Streaming versus owning Blu-rays. Convenience. Like you had to watch, dude. I know for some of you our younger listeners, which we maybe necessarily have, but anybody super young doesn't remember how it used to be to watch television. Like if you missed your show, you missed your show. Like you had to get like a TV guide, like a thing that would come in the mail, and you would have to look to see what time your shows were on, and then you had to be parked in front of the television to watch it. And then if you missed it, you just had to hope a rerun would happen at some point in time. And then as things progressed, it was like on demand happened, and then like you didn't have to be there at the time. Like so, like hardly nobody really watches live anymore, except for like the sporting events, except for like football games and basketball games and stuff. And people always like people are like, oh, nobody's gonna give up their music collection to stream, and that's exactly what they did. Nobody's going to give up their Blu-ray
Yeah.
collections to stream movies. That's exactly what they did. Nobody's going to choose digital books. That's exactly what they did. People will always choose convenience over the perks of ownership, and it happened in video games. And you can make an
But
argument.
like
Well, maybe
I
it shouldn't because games are more expensive than any of those other mediums, right? Like a book is still books are also getting up there in price these days. But
yeah, that book you recommended me earlier is 15 quid. What the hell?
I mean that's cheap.
That's cheap.
Well, I mean, you could
It's
buy
paper, bro.
but you could buy it used. I mean, sometimes when I'm looking for a book on Amazon, I'll look at like a paperback versus the hardcover price because I typically like hardcover. But then if
What's
it's
the
too
difference?
hardcover is like the big thing with the sturdy like their
Yeah, but
paperback
what's
is
the
all
point of
floppy.
getting
You know,
what's what's the difference in the experience? You're only going to
Nothing
read it once, ain't you?
really. There's really nothing difference in the experience of reading a paperback novel or hardcover novel. But for me, there
Mm.
is an experience. There is a difference from reading like ebook. Like I don't know, like reading off of the screen makes me feel like I'm reading emails, and I can't really get invested in the story, which is why I typically read physical. So I don't really have a choice between, hey, like a hardcover or paperback. I'll get which one is cheaper, or I would, if I had a choice though, depending on price, I'd get the hardcover one. But uh, the point I
Well,
was
that's
trying,
another aspect to the digital argument is like you can resell your shit if you get it physically. And
sure,
there is this sort of like they there is I think there is this sort of undercurrent. Like I think people know on some sort of subconscious level. It's like, yeah, I'm getting the convenience here, but I'm actually longer term. I'm kind of harming myself because I don't have the opportunity to physically sell this ever in the future. Like I sold all of my Pokemon games a little while ago. And I'm pretty sure that I turned a profit on some of those games because some of those Pokemon games on the DS, like they're just fully out of print now, and they sell for a lot of money. And like I'm looking at my Xbox collection, it's like if I ever did want to sell this, or furthermore bequeath it to a relative, that is presently impossible in our current system. So it's like I suppose part of it's about digital rights, part of it's about the short-term gains for long-term pain. And I do think there is that aspect of like humans often want what's bad for them, bro. Like when you get into like smoking or furthermore overeating, like yeah, I'm like yesterday, well, not yesterday, day before, I went to McDonald's, right? And I'm like, this McDonald's is delicious, but you know, it's hardly beneficial for my diet, is it? And I think that's kind of like one of the issues with humans in general, and the way, oh god, this is getting philosophical now. The way corporations exploit the fact that humans trend towards easy and addictive, and companies exploit that. And I think the digital argument is encompasses that to some degree. We want what's not good for us sometimes, and I think sometimes, you know, it manifests in this kind of anger. I think we're seeing with the debate over it. You know,
Right.
there's like a backlash to this disc stuff. There's a backlash to social media algorithms, which yeah, it's fun to sit there on your phone and doom scroll for hours at a time. But I think subconsciously, people know that this shit is bad for society in some way. So some kind of subconscious kind of way. People know this shit is not good for you. Smoking ain't good for you. Eating unhealthily is not good for you. And probably giving up physical discs is not gonna be good for us. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
That's just a theory.
I
A
mean,
game
it's
theory.
a interesting argument. People. So the thing was, a lot of PlayStation fans who are very much in the weeds of the movement, I guess,
Yeah,
were
I mean,
really
we're gonna be in it too soon. Xbox fans too.
about what
Guaranteed, bro.
the physical stuff.
Well, I mean, it's gonna happen to Xbox too. It's not just
Sure,
gonna be.
but I
It's
mean, at the
almost
same time, like
certain.
I also if X, we were all expecting Xbox to do it first. In fact, like
Yeah, yeah.
the thing was, like I'd be like, hey, I hope my physical bros get it, but like I don't care. I mean, I don't care. Like it shouldn't go away, and I hope people get what they want. Just like I hope people get their banjo game, which hopefully they will. But at the end of the day, it's like I personally don't care if
Couldn't care
everything was
less.
digital. But I hope people get what I mean. I think it should be an option, but you know, I,
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I wouldn't be too. I wouldn't be upset if it went away, like some people are. But like, the point I was trying to get to was because of the Circana information that was kind of regurgitated by the media, because that's what the media is these days. They take some morsel of news and everybody writes their own articles about it because everybody's chasing clicks, because that's what it's all about. That's the industry. It's funny because I don't even know if you have anything like the only I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks like game journalists shouldn't even be called game journalists. Like the only game journalists around, I still feel are like Steven Totillo and Jason Schreier. Like everybody
What about
else,
me?
you don't even call yourself a game journalist, because I think most of these game journalists are really just bloggers, because that's what they do. They just reblog information that somebody else came up with. Whether it was Jason Schreier talking about the exclusivity stuff, what happened? You saw it posted on every single website. You know what I'm saying? Like an actual journalist.
Well, this is my approach is like because Jason did that article, but then I was like,
I know,
okay, if I'm gonna reblog
but
this,
you
I want to
sure
add to
you
it.
add.
I want to put
Well,
some
we were going to talk
journalism
about
in
that,
it.
but my point was like the whole, like that's what the industry is now. A lot of this is just taking existing
Yeah.
things for some, like somebody already did, and then trying to get clicks out of it. There aren't really what I would call true journalists left. It's just basically just a
Google's
bunch of
punishing that
bloggers.
behavior now.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, I just so like the whole that since all the websites wrote about this, the information, a lot of the PlayStation fans were super upset because they felt like it was a Sony PR cover up. That basically like
Oh, because it was
yeah,
all coordinated or what?
because it felt like they felt like it was all
Felt
coordinated,
coordinated.
even though it was all
Ah.
just the websites reporting what Matt said because they all need to make money off of running ads on their websites. So it was like,
And
oh
we're
look,
talking
Sony.
about it now on a podcast as well.
So like Sony's
There is
running
that
a like
irony, Rand.
a PR campaign, about it, right? And I think even like Moore's Law's Dead did some video where he said like Sony's paying for bots to talk positively about losing game ownership and stuff. And
No way.
yeah, I mean, he made it. I haven't watched his video, but that's what his video was about. He said he recognized some accounts that like I don't know exactly what was said in this video because I didn't watch it, but he basically insinuated like they're paid bots by somebody or whatever. So there's all this conspiracy theories going on because people love conspiracy theories in this day and age about
Well, I'll tell you one thing. A lot
stuff.
of the big
So
game journalist sites, they all hang out in a Discord they think is secret.
oh
And
yes, the secret
yeah,
Discord. Oh
the
yes,
secret
yes.
Discord. And they don't. I think the conspiracy that they're all like that Sony's telling them what to write. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. But like, there is something
I
to be
mean,
said.
shit,
Like
dude. I
when
mean,
they're
fucking
all,
people accuse you of just writing what Microsoft tells you to write.
yeah.
So I mean,
Well, I think that's why I think it's ridiculous because if there was anyone who was going to tell anyone what to write, it'd probably be Microsoft telling Windows Central what to write. But I know that doesn't happen. So if that doesn't happen, then I'm pretty sure the rest of it doesn't happen. I could be wrong. I'd have no relationship with
I mean,
Sony,
dude,
of
I've had
course. They send me review code sometimes,
yeah,
but
I've had
my point my
people.
point was
Yeah,
my
go ahead.
point was going to be that these game writers, they're all friends,
Yep. The San
and
Francisco
they all
clique. They all love the smell
yeah.
of their own farts. Oh, tastes like,
But
smells like
I
victory in
wasn't
the morning. Yeah.
I, I wasn't going to
What
say
bad
that,
Xbox
but
news can we make some money off of today? Let me write it up.
yeah. Well,
Smells
I
so
wasn't going to say
good.
that, Rand. But the point is that it's not a wonder that like if they're friends and stuff, they probably share the same opinions about things because when you're in a group of friends, you kind of like there is this aspect of like you can't sort of disagree or you'll be ostracized out of the clique. You know, there's that sort of like how do you function and if, as a journalist if you're trying to actually appeal to a social group of friends that you're in, and I think that's like where being more of a blogger comes in than a journalist, because if you're letting things like that dictate your views on things, like I can't stray too far out of the mold or people won't like me anymore, I think that's the kind of thing which separates a journalist and blogger, because but it's whatever. The reason I don't call myself a game journalist is because I think the word journalist should be reserved for things like covering wars or covering politics, and I don't really like or covering the business aspects of things. And like you say, I think there are people who do this. I think like Stephen Totillo, for example, covers a business, and then Jason Schreier covers like things that are going wrong. I think Gamers Nexus, for example, he's doing a lot of amazing
Yeah, what
real
was the
journalism work
some of
right
the
now.
stuff like with like LG and their like monitors
Yeah.
and like what? So what's I saw that. So I have an LG TV. Am I gonna get like malware in my TV because I haven't seen anything, or is that just for like the
So
monitors and stuff?
yeah, so what it was is LG Microsoft has a service where well, it's Windows Update. And the idea is that companies work with Microsoft and they serve their updates through Windows Update to make it easier for everyone involved. Pretty much like how if you've got an iPhone, all your app updates come through the App Store, right? So Microsoft's like, okay, well, if you don't want to deliver your own shit, then work with us and we'll put it through Windows Update, right? Should be a good thing, but unfortunately, LG muddied the waters by serving ads through Windows Update. So people who plugged in their monitors suddenly discovered that their monitors are now serving advertisements and that kind of shit,
Yeah,
right?
I saw Tom
So
Moran's tweet about it with an ad in his thing,
yeah, so
which is disgusting.
Google, yeah, it's awful. So a lot of people are saying like, I'll never buy an LG product again, and I certainly aren't going to do that. But it's another one of them, man. I think it comes back to home ownership.
Oh, geez, are we going back to home ownership? Can we stop that, Jez? We stop that. And
Well,
it's
you
sad
know,
because LG's
LG can't sell more products because people don't own homes, and the homes they own are too small. So now they have to do things like serve ads to find growth
yeah.
and do
Something
shitification.
tells me they'd be selling ads regardless if everybody had homes, anyways.
Yeah, maybe,
You know,
but I think the economy it's home ownership, bro. I'm telling you,
well, the sad
it's
thing
home
is like
ownership and people not having kids.
is LG's
It's
OLEDs.
a
Oh yeah,
1-2
so the
punch.
kids, the LG OLED TVs are magnificent. So it's kind of like a sad thing about with that, but yeah.
Unless you hate burning.
Oh no, Burning's basically been fixed. Like,
Has it?
yeah. I mean, burn-in was a thing, obviously, in the older models for sure, but burn-in
Fair
on
enough.
the newer TVs is basically not a thing anymore. Unless
Huh.
maybe you leave it
Fair enough.
on like Fox News 24/7, and you left it on there for a few years, and you didn't ever change the channel. Like maybe you'd get like the bars burned in, but I mean, you know, that's really about it. So
Oh yeah, and that was the other part of the LG stuff. They started serving ads through WebOS or whatever it's called
yeah,
on their TVs, even if you had the setting turned off, because they pushed an update which turned the setting off or
yeah,
added a new setting with a different bunch of ads or some bullshit. I don't know. Basically, LG is being scummy and they're getting called out for it, rightfully so. And you know, it kind of the debate kind of dovetails into, you know, we're talking about discs, but this debate kind of dovetails into the Xbox's own ad
yeah.
stuff right now. But
Yeah,
I don't know if you want to, if there's any
let's
super
talk
chats
about
to
that right
get
now
first.
because it does dovetail into it, and then we'll talk about Halo, and then we'll talk about all like the exclusivities because that was sort of a thing. But so let's talk about the
Yeah.
so there. I have seen a lot of misinformation, and to be honest, like I'm not fully 100% sure about it because I talked to a couple people, or at least I've seen tweets from people that said that basically you would start a game and you would get like 2 minutes of ads or whatever before you would start, and then you'd play an hour,
Mm.
and then it would interrupt you and play another 2 minutes of ads, and then you could keep on playing for an hour, and just a third hour comes and you would get another 2 minutes but I was under the impression that this is like it's just a single 1 hour session. That's what you're limited to. This isn't a thing where you can just keep on streaming for like 5 hours and get five sets of ads every hour. Like I thought it was strictly like you stream for an hour, you get 2 minutes of ads, and then that's you're done. Because I thought like the whole thing was like you get 5 1 hour sessions a month, kind of like how GeForce Now does it. Because GeForce Now
Yeah,
like the free
yeah,
tier
yeah.
has ads or whatever, which I don't
Yeah,
look.
that's how it works.
So is that how it works? Am I right in that? And
Yeah.
the people that were like,
Yes,
"Oh,
you
it's
are.
just 1 hour rolls over the other," oh no, no, imagine if you're playing GTA 6 and the final boss and stops and you get like, cause I saw people say that, like, imagine if you're doing that and you get ads. But it's like GTA
Yeah,
6
that's
isn't
not the
also
case.
going to be in streamer games, and like, there's the whole thing around it about like nobody really makes mention that you this is outside of your Game Pass subscription, which would give you no ads, and it's just like a free sort of
Yes.
thing, and it's probably not even like we're talking about it because it's something that happened and whatever, but I don't even think it's something our audience that listens to the show, like here on YouTube and then later on Spotify and iTunes, is probably really interested in, because I would imagine most of our audience is playing locally, whether it's on their PC or whether it's on their Xbox, and if they are streaming, they already have Game Pass, so like the ad stuff wouldn't even matter. But I do find people like being, oh, this is the, and there, I guess there is a slippery slope thing to discuss about like the future, like, oh well, the ads are here, this is what they've always wanted, and like they present it as a picture of you let the ads in here, who knows in 10 years time when there's no hardware and you don't have any physical games and you don't even there's no digital, it's like they just want you to stream, so you pay 70, because the other thing about this is like stream your game so that you have to own the game and then you get ads, but it's like, well, GeoForce does it and you also own the game, have to own the game and get an ad. So it's like the future that they're worried about is basically everything streamed, or potentially even if you're digital, that you buy the game and that before you start the game you'll just get ads, like, you know.
Hmm.
So like they feel like that's like this is the beginning of the end. That ads are
Yes.
coming, whether or not it's streamed, that you'll get ads even if you have a disc or even if you have digital. Like, this is the future it's, moving us towards, essentially,
Yes.
So,
I mean, I got thoughts about it. I do think it's kind of ironic that a lot of the people who are outraged about this, whether they're YouTubers or bloggers or whatever, they all rely on the business model of free with ads. So I don't know. There's some kind of weird hypocrisy there.
I mean,
personally,
I get the argument. I get the argument, Jez. However, there's a big difference between Joe Blow with the YouTube channel trying to make ends meet, whatever, and $1 trillion corporation Microsoft. There's a slight difference between,
well, I
like,
don't know if there is really,
like,
because
no,
there
definitely is. Like, we run a podcast that is free. Like, yeah, we have Patreons that support us if they want extra things from us. But like, the podcast
I think it's the same thing,
you
just
can
on a
listen to
different
without
scale.
ads. No, I don't think so, because we're not a $1 trillion corporation. Like, if we were millionaires or whatever,
Neither is
maybe.
Xbox. Xbox is not a $1 trillion corporation.
Microsoft is $1 trillion. This goes back to even like all the layoff stuff, and it's like, they lay off all those people, but they don't have to, but they did anyways. And it's like, you could employ all those people. You have all the money for it, but it's like, line has to go up. It always has to go up, or we're doing a reset, so we gotta, Amy Hood.
Well,
it's like they could keep all
becomes,
that stuff. It
becomes a reductive argument, because then you start getting into like, oh well, the shareholders own the company, and the shareholders say the line must go up, and Xbox by itself is not a $1 trillion company, and if the shareholders say we don't want Microsoft spending its
though.
Yeah, but the shareholders will say we don't want Microsoft spending its Azure money on Xbox. Xbox has to be self-sustainable. And one of the existential issues that Xbox is having right now, which this is designed to solve, and you said like we don't think that like this isn't for people who are watching the podcast. This is not for the core audience. That is the point here. The point is this is designed for the thing that actually is extracting value from the industry, which is free to play gaming. And there's a huge cohort of users out there to the tune of billions of people who don't have a console, don't have a PC. They are not that interested in gaming, but maybe they would be if it's free, like their mobile games, and it's accessible on every platform they've got in the world, right?
Sure.
So this is kind of like, and this is where my argument lies on all of this not being a bad thing in the short term. And sure, maybe like there's a slippery slope argument, like you said. Maybe that's where things end up. But I think that is not the plan under Asher and this current cohort. But I think like even if it was the long-term plan, Xbox does not have the market dominance to try and force this to be a thing. They're in a very precarious position right now where people don't trust them. So why would they risk a Sony style backlash by putting ads in core games? I don't see it. There's also like competitors aren't going to do that. You're never going to see ads on Steam. So again, that kind of stops that. That buttresses that from happening. So when I see like the outrage takes about the ads on xCloud, I just kind of roll my eyes, because I just don't think it's I don't think it's real outrage. I think it's performative. Because if you actually follow through things to their logical conclusion, which is Microsoft could never get away with doing this. They could never in a million years get away with putting ads in core games. As long as Steam exists, they could never ever get away with it. And if there is ever a time where Steam doesn't exist and somehow Microsoft beats Steam, which, let's be real, is never going to happen, then we'll have much bigger problems to worry about, I would have thought. And also that would be decades away,
Or buy Steam, essentially.
Yeah, I don't think that's
which I don't think
either,
would happen either. I mean, yeah, you make up a good point there, and I do acknowledge your thing about like the people outraged about this. Some of them are YouTubers and journalists. They also live off of the idea of ads, whether they're on their websites or whether they're on YouTube in general. So like there is a bit of small hypocrisy of like making a thing about it, like, and then being like, oh, watch my video because this is how I make money. But also, I get that, and I agree with you. There is a bit of like whatever, but it's also like, the end user is like, Joe Blow make $40,000 doing YouTube versus Xbox $1 billion corporation. They're not necessarily the same. And you're right. I do think Well, if Microsoft did that, it probably would. I mean, people still bitch about the ad that you get sometimes when you turn on your Xbox console, and it's because like you turn it on and like
The Call of
Halo
Duty and stuff.
Campaign Evolved is out, and you got to press B to move out of it. Like people are still pissed about that. People are still pissed that sometimes you get like one single ad in the bottom right hand corner of your dashboard. Could you imagine if like they eventually put like ads like every hour is like, oh, you're playing Battlefield and your hour's up. You're in the match. And like,
Why
oh,
would they even consider doing that?
because that's
Like seriously, think about it.
I
Think about it.
know.
What would they ever possibly think about? Why would they even dream that they could get away with that? It makes no sense to me.
I
And
mean,
I think people
because
pushing that narrative are not being truthful.
I mean,
They're
dude,
not being honest.
no, but we've seen we there. I don't know if you remember back in the day with Battlefield, with one of the guys from EA that said, "What if we could charge people real money for reloading their guns? Like, oh,
Yeah, and he's
you
not
need to
there
reload.
anymore.
I know he's not there anymore, but to think that the executives haven't thought about
Bro
this
lost
about
his
what
job.
I know he lost his job, but like the people in there, like, look, all these companies have all made mistakes. Like from PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo, they've all made dumb mistakes that like to us, we're like, yeah, you shouldn't have done that because it's fucking stupid. Like every single company, and some people would say hey, PlayStation's making the biggest mistake of their lives right now. Uh, so like I guarantee you that they like look if people were talking about the fucking like, oh, wouldn't it be great if like you had to reload your gun and oh you reloaded it, you owe us $2 if like they were literally thinking about that back in 2010. I
Yeah, of
guarantee you they're
course they
thining
are.
about they're guarantee
Someone
you they're
saying will push
workshopping
back.
that stuff. I mean I agree
Someone
with you
saying
on
will push back.
what.
Like the thing is, like they can dream about all they want about this shit, but like EA just had its own backlash with college football microtransactions, and that was nowhere near as egregious as like paying $2 to reload your
I
gun. You
know,
know, it's
but
like
the fact that they even thought about this is kind of like the worrisome part of it. Like because sometimes you like look, there's been
Like,
times.
I suppose the backlash is useful in the context of Microsoft has to be cognizant now that people are on their ass about how far they push some of this stuff. And I do think there's just like, I just think there's no universe where they could get away with it.
No,
Someone
I
in chat brought up the fact that some of Amazon Prime's paid tiers have ads in it, right? And
mm,
I don't use Amazon Prime that much, so I don't know. But if that's true, um I do think there's a big difference here, right? Amazon Prime is something people subscribe to, not necessarily for Prime TV, but for the cheap delivery stuff, right?
yes.
So, and I think the thing about Game Pass is the whole value proposition of Game Pass is its value, right? If Game Pass, like we saw what happened when Game Pass destroyed its value proposition, which is the value, and that was people unsubscribed. When they went up to $30, people unsubscribed en masse to the point where
4 million
Asher
people.
had to be like, yeah, and Asher had to be like, oh yeah, we fucked up here. And I think that like Amazon potentially could get away with some of that stuff, but Game Pass is nowhere near in that position because it has nothing. There's nothing exclusive about Game Pass. The distribution model for gaming is typically still the retail model. People rejected Game Pass becoming Netflix because there's just too much stuff to play, and the retail
And
model of buying games outright is
well,
still too
it says
dominant.
like it's too much stuff to play, and people only play 2 games a year. I mean, that's also some of the Matt Piscatella
Yeah,
data is
that
like
too.
they only play a couple games a year, and they're typically like the Fortnites and all that sort of stuff. So basically,
So
Game
if you
Pass,
destroy the value,
yeah.
sorry, go on.
Well, so it's
I
like,
was gonna say if you just
go ahead. I don't need to
this,
make the
this is,
point. Yeah, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say like if you destroy the value proposition with spamming it with ads, people will unsubscribe.
Sure.
People don't unsubscribe from Amazon Prime because a lot of people are not actually using it for Prime. They're using it for
Yeah,
cheap
that's how I
delivery.
view Amazon Prime. I literally have had Prime for I don't know how long, a decade now, because I use it for free shipping. Like it used to be free 1 day shipping, and now it's free 2 day shipping, whatever, right? And then they added this service on top of it, so I felt like I was like, well, I'm getting it for free. I mean, I'm not subscribing for this. It's just I'm subscribing for the package delivery. And then they started adding ads to like all of them, like Hulu and Disney, maybe yeah, Hulu and like Netflix did. Like Netflix then had the ultimate tier, $25 tier that you don't get ads. But if you watch something like WWE or UFC, you get ads, so it doesn't get rid of them there. And then so Prime has it where it's like you get ads, but you could pay us for an extra $4 a month and you won't get ads. So like there's always some like YouTube offers a premiums like where there's ads, there's always going to be a way for you to bypass the ads. Like literally, it's almost like on every single business model that revolves around that has a way for you to pay to get rid of ads. Like every single one of them. You know,
I just don't see the doom and gloom scenarios that people are pushing. To me, just feel like clickbait and fake outrage, and by people who are never going to use cloud anyway, and a lot of in general, a lot of people who are never going to use Xbox in any way.
True.
So it's just like, what's the latest outrage here? And outrage is so hot right now. It's so hot right now.
There's one because like they wrote like a whole blog post about this, right, on Xbox Wire. Okay. So I just wanted, they're saying they're testing an ad-supported way to stream select games from your library for a limited time, available to Xbox insiders. Now, of course, maybe this comes out, maybe it doesn't, because they were testing the Xbox Game Pass Family Plan, and that never came out. So there's always the idea of, like, this may not work. Maybe the business model doesn't work or what have you, right?
Yeah.
So it's funny because, like, here they say, here's what you can expect. Ads will play before sessions. The core game experience is unchanged. This is optional. Players can choose other ways to play at any time. And then you get down to all this sort of stuff like, given that we want to be clear about how we approach ad-supported services across Xbox One, we start with the player. Ads should create value. Okay. What the fuck does that mean, Jez? Ads only create value for look. Let me say what I'm going to say. Let me say what I'm going to say first, and then you can rebut it. Okay.
I'll rebut it.
One, people reading this stuff, they don't want to see how like you're starting with the player, but you're also getting ads, because I don't really think those two things actually interlock together. And I'm not as smart as Matthew Ball, so maybe he has data that says they do. But I feel like ads don't create value for regular people. Yeah, it's something that like we're all accustomed to because we watch TV and you get inundated with ads. But I don't really think ads create value for people. Now, the only thing ads create value for is for the company advertising something and the company who is getting paid to service those ads to people. So already with like number one here, I feel like this is kind of like the tech bro sort of thing of like, hey, we start with you. I don't know. I feel like this is kind of this doesn't really mean what they think it means to people when they see this. Like, it's like, oh, we're putting it, and they want to reassure people, and it's like this is the first thing they start with is we start with you. It doesn't mean it like that. I think it's kind of bullshit, personally.
I mean, you're probably right, but I'll play devil's advocate.
Play devil's advocate.
I think what he means is there's a whole. I use social media a lot, right? And there is a whole Instagram, I think, is kind of the model they're kind of trying to emulate here. And I've discovered so many games from Instagram ads over the last, like, my ad algorithm on Instagram serves me ads that I actually am interested in. It shows me games on Steam that I'm interested in. I'm like, oh shit, that looks really good. And it shows me sometimes tech products that I find interesting. Sometimes I buy them, sometimes I don't. So, I mean, there is that sort of ads suck, and it is what it is. But if you are offering something for free, then free with ads is kind of the thing. You can also just ignore ads, like most people generally do. But I actually have found ads on Instagram sometimes to be actually kind of useful, especially for discovery. So I think if I'm kind of like imagining,
okay, how would you imagine the ads on Xbox would be?
The utopic version, which is probably false. Again, devil's advocate. The utopic version is the ads are ads for hidden gems, games that you might be interested in.
Do you actually think that's what it's going to be for?
I mean, they can't really push ads for things that nobody on Xbox is going to be interested in. Like, I think Meta's really gone down this rabbit hole on Facebook, especially, where if you open Facebook, it's like ads for gambling. And like, I often see complaints about YouTube ads. I don't see YouTube ads because I pay for premium. because I don't like ads generally speaking. But like sometimes you'll get ads on Instagram which are for gambling, for like shitty mobile
But
games and all the rest of it.
let me offer you a counter to your counter, okay? We just said, and I think Chad agrees with this and you agree with me, like we're not the target audience for this, right? Because we have Game
No.
Pass and we're gonna not get ads or whatever. So the audience that would get this isn't necessarily the audience is actually looking for games, as you would say, like Instagram ads. They're probably a super casual audience that is maybe so they'd probably get served more like ads in the veins of your good old McDonald's and stuff like that, rather than like, oh, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, buy now in the Xbox store. It'll be more like general purpose ads that you would see on YouTube. And I don't think you get like
Yeah, maybe
BetterHelp
you're right.
or you would get stuff like that, because
The thing
audience,
is, I think one. Sorry, go on.
I mean, I don't know. See, we don't know how this is going to play out. So we're all speculating here. I just didn't like the whole thing. I don't like the idea of like player comes first and it's like, I don't like, it doesn't really, I don't get the sense that like well, I guess what I'm going to say is like, one, I'm never going to experience this because I'm never going to cloud stream in the first place. So I'm not going to test it because even if to test this, I would have to like start a new account that isn't tied to Game Pass because I have Game Pass Ultimate. So I don't even know how I would test this or whatever. Or maybe there's a way to do it. So like, it's not a feature for me, but like the way they sort of try to sell it to people is, I feel like this is like a whole tech bro sort of thing where they're trying to like sell something that necessarily isn't good for you and then try to tell you it actually is, and actually it's creating value for you. And I feel like if you just got rid of that one bullet point, it probably be better, because the other bullet points are let me bring it up here. We do not interrupt the flow of gameplay, which is probably the most important thing you would have to say if you're going to run ads. Is like, it's never going to interrupt the flow of gameplay. And then we hold ads to the same quality bar as our content, which is great. But then some people will say there is no quality bar with Xbox content, so I guess that's a joke. People would say that's a joke. Like, I think Xbox's content has gotten a lot better when you compare it to last generation. But there would be some people that say Xbox games are dog shit. So if they're saying the quality is the same as their content, then they must not have a quality bar.
Yeah.
Whatever. We're clear about what's advertising, okay, and we make sure ads fit what players expect on each platform. All right. So I feel like if you just kept those four here without that weird first one about how ads should create value and they start with the player, I feel like this messaging would be a little bit better. But then again, I'm not, I don't have a degree in marketing or player analytics or whatever. So I mean, maybe this is the stuff that they get, and it's like this is the stuff they say, or I don't know. Maybe nobody even uses this thing. That's the other sort of stuff. It's like, how many people are actually going to use this? And I know there's the idea of like they mentioned in the article of like, oh, well, Xbox One players, they'll be able to do this other stuff without buying hardware, and like hardware is getting more and more expensive for sure. And maybe this is a way to like get the experience of next generation without having to spend $800 on your favorite console. I've seen a couple journalists be like, well, just lower the price of the console to get more people in. It's like, sure, they probably could, but they'd probably eat more money on that and probably have to lay more people off. So yeah, it's probably also then designed to people like other countries like India and all those other places. But that's like, I'm not, do those people even own Xbox games? Because that's the other thing here is you have to stream your own games, and I get it's a test, and maybe it'll go to like, because I do think we are expecting a tier at some point where Game Pass is free with ads, right? Because this is just, hey, stream your own games that you already own. But I feel like at some point, if you really want Game Pass to even hit higher numbers, you have to offer a free version of Game Pass on cloud. Right? Am I kind of tripping there? Do you think that's going to happen at some point?
I mean, really, it's hard to say because a lot of this stuff revolves around the thin economics that Xbox has available.
Or a cheap version of Game Pass where it's like a $5 version of Game Pass that has a select library that anybody can play that is supported by ads.
Also has ads.
Yeah, like,
I mean,
because even Netflix's cheapest thing is like $6.99, but it has ads, right? So you're still right. So I feel like that has to be an eventual future model that you're aiming for, because I'm not really sure this one of like people streaming with their own game, like especially in the Xbox ecosystem, who doesn't have Game Pass? You know what I mean? I don't know.
This is the whole play for this, generally speaking, is finding users that aren't already there. And I think that's like the thing that's driving the whole industry crazy right now, is because how do we find the next wave of genuine growth? And I think that's like the thing they're really struggling with, is like, where do we find those new users? So I suppose like they're hoping, wishful thinking, that this shit will go to people who are tolerable, who prefer free with ads, whether by way of like, their personal fiscal realities, or just because they don't value gaming enough to pay any more for it, or they just don't care about ads and they just ignore them, you know? Because
Mm-hmm.
evidently, if you look at these hyperscale platforms like Instagram, like Facebook, like YouTube, people do very much prefer free with ads, you know. And if you listen to this on Spotify, most of the people there are listening to this show free with ads, you know. So that is really sort of like the business model that Xbox and I suppose other players are looking to tap into here, whether it's Nvidia GeForce Now. I won't be surprised if Sony too joins suit eventually. There is a huge contingent of people that have grown up with and expect free. I think I've told an anecdote on this show before where like my little cousin was like coming up to the age where she was interested in Minecraft, and then she was shocked to discover that Minecraft wasn't free, because she'd grown up expecting all games to be free. And I think, it's the industry's fault this happened. I mean, Microsoft and other players basically let Google and Apple create this free to play mobile slop market, which we all hate on the show, and people listening to the show, generally speaking, I think. But you can't deny that it's become a huge part of what younger generations expect when it comes to gaming, either by way of like just not valuing games enough. And I suppose the hope is not so much we want to turn everyone into freemium people, because at the end of the day, the big money is in premium. The big money is in paying to skip the ads. The big money is in selling a game for $70. I suppose the hope is that like they can create an on-ramp to more users actually becoming core gamers. But
Is the big
you know,
money in selling skipping for ads, or is the big money getting all bunch of
yeah,
partners on there to pay you to put ads on your platform?
the most valuable users, and this is why Xbox has survived despite having a smaller platform, are the people that are just super invested in it.
Sure, sure, sure.
You know,
But
the
I guess I was
whales.
thinking of
They want to
YouTube.
turn people into whales.
I guess I was thinking of YouTube, of like what is the percentage of people who pay for premium and just people who watch ads? I can't imagine premium is. I can't imagine it's 50-50.
I have no idea.
I
I
mean, I don't
mean,
know
I'm,
either.
I'm just talking about core gaming,
Sure,
really.
sure, sure. Oh yeah, I mean,
For
you're right. You're
Xbox,
sure.
the play is, we don't want people to be free. We want people to be paid. And in fact, more in the free to play universe, this has become a problem for them as well, because in Fortnite, people have got the skins they want now, and people are playing Fortnite and not spending a penny.
Yeah.
So they're looking at putting ads
You
into
know,
Fortnite
speaking
for
of
that
Fortnite,
reason.
real quickly, you know the ad, not ad, but you know the meme going around of Robert Pattinson in Odysseus right now. It's like
No, I haven't
literally
seen
everything.
that.
It's like, someone get these beggars out of here. Have you haven't seen that? Like
No, I haven't.
people using that, like using it for everything. Because me and
No.
Jez have a beggar begging us for our V bucks. Uh, he's like, give me all your V bucks. I'm like, no. And I sent him back a gif of the Pattinson thing of like, someone get these beggars out of here. Like I've seen it, like, you know, when
I haven't
when
seen
you
it.
come back from a doctor's appointment in school with the bag of, you know, the bag of McDonald's, and all the kids are looking at you, and it's like the video of Pattinson saying, someone get these beggars out of here. It's hilarious because you can use it for anything. It works so perfectly. It's gonna be a great meme forever. But
What's Pattinson in everything lately?
because I think it's because like the Batman 2 kept on getting pushed, so he kept on accepting new projects and stuff. But yeah, he's in a lot of stuff this year.
Bro's in everything. He's
Bro's
in
good
literally
too.
everything.
Bro's good. He's a good
No,
actor.
I love that he's in everything, but he's in everything.
Yeah. The other, this isn't necessarily to do with uh this topic, but it has to do more with like what some people would claim is the Xbox tax, how like Xbox is reported on and stuff. Because I saw an article, and I sent it to Jez, and it was Eurogamer. Not even about this, but they had a tweet that says old Xbox games are coming to PC as Microsoft tries to downplay the effects on its gaming business of cutting 3,200 jobs in 4 studios. And I always I think you said it before, but I'll definitely reiterate it. Like Xbox going through their reset has definitely led to a lot of journals going mask off, as one would say, and being like, okay, well,
Yeah, kind of.
before I had the sort of feign interest or feign objectivity about how I report certain things, but now it's sort of like a free for all. It reminds me a little bit of 2013, like back when the DRM stuff was announced, and like everybody, like Xbox became a joke to the journalists and stuff, and everybody was just whatever. But this one's like more mean, and I'm not saying Microsoft doesn't deserve to get like shit on for laying off all these people and doing all these things, right? Like it's pretty bad. But like I sort of feel like when you're because I've seen other journalists being like, oh, Microsoft is dangling the keys again, or Microsoft is another distraction, and it's like, yeah, but these things were like been working
You
on
said
for a
that.
long time and stuff, and it's like I sort of feel like if this was made in the time it was from when the layoffs happened to now, in response to that, I'd see your point, but it's like the Back Compat stuff has been in the works for a long time. It'd be
A
like
really
saying
long time,
it'd be like
actually.
saying like when Wolverine comes out, being like, well, PlayStation's distracting PlayStation users with the release of Wolverine, to key jingling and going on to get people to stop thinking about physical game stuff because Wolverine's here or whatever. But that is even like, okay, that's this reporting. But then I even saw like a review for Halo Evolve, which we're gonna talk about in a second because me and Jez both played it. Where like the guy or whoever reviewed it, let me see if I can bring up the actual thing. I don't know if I'm gonna read it, but he gave it a 7, or they gave it a 7. But then he talked about like how bad Halo has been under Xbox, which I don't necessarily disagree. Like we've talked about it plenty of times about Halo has been mismanaged, right? And how we've
Yeah.
only had one game, and that like the mismanagement, and then talk about like laying off thousands of employees, and then Microsoft being on the BDS thing of like boycott, divest, sanction into like the the genocide in Gaza and all that stuff. And I'm just like, is this a review of like Halo or a review of like Microsoft in general with some of the things they do? It's like, but then I'm supposed to, I've seen people say, well, it didn't affect the review score. And I'm like, so I have two ways to look at it. Like, so am I supposed to believe you write this thing and then you end it with like what you said about this stuff and then it doesn't subconsciously affect your review? Okay. Or then I say, oh, like the genocide stuff. I mean, like, so that only, like, you didn't dock it more. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you,
Yeah, genocide's only worth docking 2
I
points
guess,
off the review.
yeah, I guess like you
It's like,
only dock one.
oh,
I don't know, but it's like, but when people have been brought up like the Xbox
crazy,
tax,
man.
these are the sort of things people have always pointed
Pointing.
to
Yeah.
about the idea of like Xbox it being reported differently, like the Eurogamer thing about like Back Compat's here, but it's just a distraction from Microsoft laying people off, or Halo, and it's like it's a thesis about Microsoft in general and how awful they are, and it's like, okay, what, like it's just okay, what? And I've been noticing more and more that a lot of journalists are just completely masked off at this point regarding Xbox and in general with Microsoft and stuff, and it's just some of them are being a little sly about it, but you can definitely tell. Now, as for our Halo review, me and you both played it, yes, right?
Yep.
Um, what'd you think? Because you're not the Halo guy. So what'd you think about it?
No. Well, I thought it was fine. I mean, it was kind
Well,
of
that's
it was
that's a
fine.
loaded word. Fine, it could mean anything.
Yeah, I mean, I just
The
kind of feel like
reheated spaghetti my girlfriend made for me last night was fine. You know,
I mean, I
like
love reheat
I
spaghetti
mean, who
actually.
doesn't, right?
But I just kept thinking about like all the evil things Microsoft has
Oh,
done. I thought
yes,
about Microsoft's antitrust thing in the 90s, and I was just like, you know
absolutely.
what?
You got to think about
I
that.
can't yeah, you got to think about these things. And I was just like, you know what? I can't in good faith enjoy this Halo game because once upon a time Microsoft tried to like force Netscape out of the browser industry,
Horrible,
and
horrible
it's just
things. Yeah.
horrible company. But nah, seriously, I'm not a huge Halo guy. I have a lot of nostalgia for it, but I've also played it like a million times.
Mm.
So I wasn't really what I wasn't sitting there the last year thinking, "Oh God, I can't wait until I can play Halo again for the 50th time." I genuinely wasn't sitting there thinking that. There's so much like new stuff that I want to play. I kind of feel like this was never going to be something that I was super excited to get into. So I was kind of looking at it more almost from a technical perspective, like, what have they done to enhance it? Are the new missions good? Are the new graphics good? And I won't spoil the new missions for those who want to experience it for the first time themselves. I think Rand put up
It's
footage
just
that
footage of the
isn't the new
first. It's
missions, for
like the first
example.
two
Yeah.
levels and the beginning of the
So
third.
I was very much like I was in the mindset of like it's fine, genuinely. Like I don't really I can't really say much more than that. There's like some of the visuals have really impressed me. Like I think what's the level called? I can't remember what the level's called.
Truth and
I th-
Reconciliation.
is it the one where you're
You start out as a
is it the
sniper,
one
and it's at night when you try to board stealthily the Covenant ship. That one.
No, the one after that. Or before that even. The one where you're on the beach.
Oh, Assault on Salcontographer. Where you start
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
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 that
Silent
one. Yeah.
Cartographer, yeah. So, like the beach and the
Mm-hmm.
water, like the
Mm-hmm.
effects were
Mm-hmm.
so good, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, this might be the best beachfront visuals I've ever seen in a game. Like it looks absolutely gorgeous. So, part of me sitting there thinking like the only reason this really exists is so they could get more acquainted with the tools. And I think I'm not entirely sure on the engine, but isn't it like Unreal graphics
So
on
it's
top of
Unreal
the Halo
Graph on
Reach
top of
engine?
like the Halo engine underneath. I think still,
Yeah, something like
running the
that.
old physics. Because I mean, it does feel like Halo, right? Obviously, it should.
Yeah, yeah. So part of me was wondering, like, does this only exist so, like, the studio can keep funding itself for the next big thing,
I mean,
or they can learn new
did
tools
it
for new
exist because
engine
they
and
wanted to get PlayStation users in? So did it also exist because they wanted something for the 25th anniversary or the 20th anniversary of Halo? Right? Like you
well,
can
I
maybe say
don't
all that.
think, yeah, maybe, but I don't think the next Halo ships on PlayStation.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think I think there's no chance of that happening personally, not under Asher at least.
um,
If you're gonna gatekeep Gears, you're absolutely gonna gatekeep Halo. Is my thought process on that. But I do think I don't know. We'll find out what happens with that. But yeah, I wasn't that excited for it anyway. I'm not a huge Halo guy, like I said. The game's fine. Um,
yeah.
no multiplayer, which I do think is a bit weird.
I don't think it's
And
that weird. I mean, I do think I would say maybe it's affecting some of the scores, but also I'm not surprised by the score. If you remember, Halo Anniversary also got the same score, like when it came out in 2011.
mm,
And that did that have the multiplayer? I'm trying to think. I think it did. So this doesn't have the multiplayer. So yeah, people were
yeah, Halo
disappointed by
Anniversary
that.
had
So
multiplayer. Yeah.
it's like it excised the multiplayer, but Last of Us 2 also excised the multiplayer and then said it would come later and then never did. But it didn't really seem to affect the
Yeah.
reviews whatsoever for Last of Us
Well,
Part 2.
part of me wonders like, was this supposed to ship with Project Echo, which evolved out of
There was some
Project
reporting I saw
Tatanka?
today from Rebs Gaming that said Project Ecker, like Piers was kind of like directly involved with that, and I guess
Yeah,
like they focus data said that Halo players and players don't want a battle royale, so he like turned it into an extraction shooter,
that is correct.
and
That's exactly
then
what I heard.
essentially they did some more focus testing, and people didn't want any of that. They kind of just want like a big version of like Halo Take Team Battle, and that got canceled too, so everything got canceled. So it's like, I don't know. Like, whatever. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, they really fucked up there.
There's a new rumor going around that like Halo 2 and 3 are in development with like the multiplayer as well or some shit. I don't know. I have no idea.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't know. Like, there is a sort of thing where like Halo 2 is, well, I guess it depends on who you talk to. Like the legendary ending, Johnson says see you in the sequel. And then like the ending is like, 343 or not, the Guilty Spark kind of going to like, it's got Halo 2 music playing and he's going to like one of the first levels of Halo 2. So it kind of gives you the vibes of Master Chief will return in Avengers Doomsday, sort of ending. But then other people read it as differently, because if you remember, the original ending to Legendary was like Sergeant Johnson and Elite like hugging each other as the ring blew up and they grabbed each other's asses. So, but then like Johnson shows up in Halo 2, so it's like, well, wait a minute, how did he show up in Halo 2 when he was supposed to be dead in Halo 1, right? Like, people think it's more of a nod to that. But and just to mention, the other game I've been playing this week, I think Jez has as well, is Gears Z-Day multiplayer preview.
Yeah, we can't really talk much about that.
Can't say anything about that, but we'll be able to talk about that next week.
Yes.
But yeah, Halo campaign evolved, and I've been pretty apparent and forthright about how I wasn't really excited for this, almost for the same reasons you were. Because I've played this game, I don't know how many times over the course of, since it's been out. I mean, I've literally played it, I could tell you, through the campaign, probably at least 10 or 12 times over the, the last however many years. So I was like, I don't know. The same thing, I wasn't really interested in Gears Reloaded because I'd played through that a whole bunch. It's like, I played through the campaign of Halo. Now, maybe if you'd remade Halo 3 or Halo Reach, I'd be more interested in, because I played those a little bit less than Halo 1. But here we are. And then I think both me and you got interested a little bit because they announced the 3 prequel levels. And I'm like, okay, well, new content. I'm interested in that. Yeah. So, got the code from Xbox, so thank you for that. And the first thing I did was I started the bonus levels, because that's what I was super interested in. So for those, because I actually got a couple tweets from people asking me, like, how would I compare the bonus levels to the main missions? And if I would say, like, if I gave, like, the main missions, like, an 8.5 or whatever, because, I mean, it's the same as it's always been. And, like, the purists are going to be like, oh, you can sprint now, or some things were changed. Like, I'm not that type of person. I don't mind adaptations or things that change things a little bit. Like, it's not that big of a deal to me, but obviously your mileage may vary, because I've seen people really upset by some additions and some changes. Like, it's not like exactly a 1-for-1 remake. Some cutscenes are different, some dialogue's different. Some things are just not the same. Like, people, like, you can sprint in this and you can zoom in with every single weapon and sort of stuff. And they've tried to, make it more, I mean, hell, you can play in third person if you want to, which is, like, disgusting for Halo.
Yeah.
So I played the new levels, and I thought they were just okay. I didn't really think there was anything special about them. I did enjoy the banter between Johnson and Chief quite a bit. I mean, obviously they had to replace Cortana because she talks to you a lot in the first game. So, like, they have Johnson there, and I really like his stuff with Chief. There's 3 levels. I like the second level a lot better, because I don't know if this is something in general about Unreal Engine, but with this overall package, Jez, I feel like this game looks beautiful in certain levels, and it's typically the levels that are outside. So what's currently on screen is level 2 Halo, where you first land on Halo, and it's like, it's all green, and it's a big cavern, and the colors pop, and like, and you can see the waterfalls and all that stuff, and it's like, it looks really good. Jez mentioned, like, Assault on Sound Cartographer looks amazing. Even like Truth and Reconciliation at night when you're dropping down the sniper, the way the lighting is and how dark and like the colors kind of highlight everything. That looks great. 343 Guilty Spark, where you're in the jungle at night when you're going to, eventually, meet the flood. Like those outside levels are like, their look is fantastic. It's
Yeah, it looks gorgeous,
it's sort of the interiors that I feel where the game kind of looks Unreal Engine. It's like you can put a point to it. Like, so like when you're in the Covenant ship on Truth and Reconciliation, when you're in any really of the Forerunner bases, I feel like, I don't know, it doesn't look as good. It kind of like looks, I don't want to say like plasticky, but and I don't even want to use the word soulless, but I feel like there's a lot of love in a lot of these other areas, the outside stuff, but like some of the structures and some of the like inside of the ships, just it's not the same. So the bonus missions kind of have some of that, where like the first and third level, you're on a Covenant ship, and it's like, I don't know, I'm not really feeling this. But then level 2, you're outside, and it's like, okay, this is good. Like it's like, okay, this is better. And I think it's only really about 2.5, 3 hours, depending on how difficulty you play on. But it was just okay. I mean, it was just like, okay, like, and like the whole space battle stuff, I didn't really find that engaging. It was just like,
I really like that, actually.
no, I mean, like, I like the way it looked. It looked great, with all the skybox stuff everywhere. But I just the actual mechanics of just flying around, and then, all right, here's a thing. We'll lock on with missiles, destroyed. Lock on with missiles, destroyed. I don't know. I just didn't do anything for me, is I guess what I'm saying. So
I was sitting there thinking, like, God damn, I really want a Halo space game now that's kind of in the vein of like Star Wars. What was it called now? Is it Rogue Squadron?
Rogue Squadron, yeah, I think it was,
or
right?
Game like Chorus, or that roguelike space game. I kind of, it kind of made me want that kind of experience, but nah, I don't know.
But those levels also give you a lot to play with, because it does. The brutes are in that level. The battle rifle is in that level. The needle rifle, so it does give you, the sandbox gives you a lot more to play with than like the original game does. Which then, when you play Campaign Remix, like the footage I'm showing, like you can use those weapons in it and stuff, so it makes it like more engaging. So I was just like, okay, like this is fine, this is okay. Like it's obviously, I didn't think it's ever gonna live up to like Bungie's master work or whatever, but I was like, hey, it's just part of this other thing, and it's something new, so I appreciate them doing something new. And I like Johnson and Chief together. It was a good 3 hours, and then I played the main campaign. I started the main campaign, which is something I've done for 10 hours, and I played it, a lot of it, half of it with co-op with Colt. And God, dude, we had such a good time. We had such a good time playing co-op together, cool, and running through the missions, and just, like, even though I played Halo 10 times, and it's just like, man, the 30 seconds of fun that Bungie sort of, I didn't want to say patent, but I always talk about, like, the shooting, the grenades, the melee, and the repetition of it. Like, it's still great. Like, that 30 seconds of fun philosophy. And you just think about, like, and I know, like, people will point to the Metacritic differences between the OG and this one, where, like, the OG is a 96 and this is an 81. And it's like, how's that possible? And I sort of feel, if I were to explain it, if you just, some people will say it's just the Xbox tax and that's it, like, nobody, not getting a fair shake. But I also sort of feel, because when Halo 1 came out in 2001, it was revolutionary. It was doing things that, like, never had been done before in regards to AI with the elites and how smart they were, which they do feel dumbed down in this one a little bit. The large scale, like, the large scale sandbox that you could play in, the vehicle stuff, like everything that they were doing, like the storytelling was incredibly unique and incredibly revolutionary for its time, which is one of the reasons why it got all the love it did, and actually, birthed a massive franchise. But, like, it's been 25 years. It's a lot of games and a lot of things have kind of it's not revolutionary anymore. It's just ordinary. And you could even say
Mm.
less than ordinary because it's been done so much that it's sort of into the realm of boring, which is, I think, why a lot of people get the reviews that it is, because outside of like the visual change, so it looks modern, it's still Halo. Like there's still a lot of backtracking. You know, you basically go through the campaign front to back. You go through the campaign, it's like you do the first 5 levels and then the next 5 levels backwards because the flood gets introduced. So, you know, sometimes that sort of philosophy, which was, you know, unique back then, is kind of frowned upon now. So I sort of wonder, like, first time Halo 1 players would feel playing this. Would they be
Mm.
super engaged? Would they think it's just like, how is this game as popular as it is? Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, I sort of would be interesting to hear like a first time player of how they felt about this one in particular. But man, it's like
Yeah.
I really really liked my time with it. You know, it reminded me of my nostalgia for the franchise, and I'm someone that's always said Halo 1 is not my favorite Halo campaign. I don't even know if it's in my top 5. Like if I had to rank Halo campaigns, it's Halo Reach, Halo 3, Halo 2, Halo Infinite, Halo ODST, Halo 1, like Halo
Mm.
5, Halo 4. So I mean, you know, it's not my favorite. I'm not saying it's like bad, but it's like it's not even, you know, my top tier like favorite Halo campaigns. So, yeah, it's like I was worried I wasn't going to like it. I was worried I was going to be bored, but I was anything but bored. And even when I went back to playing solo, because I feel like this game shines in co-op when you have multiple people together and you're screwing around with the sandbox and there's a ton of enemies to fight and there's explosions everywhere and someone's like in a tank or someone's in the warthog and you're just
Playing Legendary?
no, I was playing a little bit on normal, a little bit on heroic, you know, legendary. I don't know. I don't want to do legendary by myself, and you know, we can do legendary. You want 4 people, but I mean, I don't know. I've done legendary in all these games. I'm sort of like, I know I'm not going to get all the achievements in this one because they have a lasso one, and it's like, yeah, whatever. I don't care about legendary. Um, but yeah, you know, I really enjoyed my time. So if I were to give it a score, it's probably like around an 8, an 8.5. Uh,
Yeah.
in that area, like the main campaign still is where it's at. You know, the prequel missions are kind of cool. Like, oh, it's new content. You know, I don't expect like, oh, this is so fucking amazing. Oh my god. It's just like, yeah, it's cool. It's cool to have Chief back. It's cool to have Sergeant Johnson playing something that's new. I like the graphical overhauls, but really only in the open world aspects. Like here, when I'm driving down the fort, I don't really think this looks great. I don't know. I feel like they've like the art direction here is kind of I don't really agree with, but like the game does shine in other areas. But yeah,
Did you
that's
find the ray tracing like had issues, or the reflections had like pixelization issues sometimes on the Series X? I
mm,
don't know if they've updated it now, but when I went through like Silent Cartographer, for example, there was a part where like you fight 2 hunters. You go up like you go down like a sort of valley, or well, more like a, I don't know, don't know what you call it, a crevasse maybe.
okay.
And then you fight 2 hunters behind the mountain bit.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
That area, like the reflections pixelated out like crazy for me.
No,
And
I didn't.
I,
It didn't for me.
I don't know if I
I
fixed it.
did have one glitch. It was in a Covenant ship where like the audio kept on dropping and kept crackling, and it was in the
Oh yeah,
same
yeah, yeah.
spot.
I
It was
saw
in the
that.
same
I had that.
spot. So even like when I died and respawned, when I got to that same spot, the same thing happened. And when I ran back to backtrack, it happened. You know, so it's like, okay, this is some area here. But yeah, I mean, I would like to see Halo 2 done in this manner. I honestly, I'd like to do Halo 2, do Halo 3, do Halo Reach. You know, put a nice coat of paint on it. I think somebody asked
ODST,
me
man.
like the cutscenes and stuff. Are they as good as like? Do you think they did a good job as Blur did with the cutscenes in Halo 2? And I'd say I'd probably prefer the Blur cutscenes in Halo 2. Do you remember those?
Oh god, yeah, with the Gravemind. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I would admit I think those are better.
I don't even care about Halo, but like the Gravemind, the blur cutscenes with the Gravemind, that
Yeah, but I totally.
burned on my mind. That was so good.
But I'd be down for Halo 2 or Halo 3, Halo Reach. Play those again, and maybe we will. I don't know how well this game is gonna do. I don't know if PlayStation players care that much. Maybe they do. I mean, we do have to make mention of the fact that when this game came out for early access, it was a shit show, right?
Oh yeah, shit.
Like, if you're selling the perk of pay us extra to play early,
And it doesn't work.
you got to make sure it actually fucking works. And the thing is, this isn't the first time this has happened.
No.
So I don't know. Like, this may sound kind of dark, but did they lay off the people responsible for getting this shit to work on time? Is that what happened here? Like, you can't have. This is Halo, and one, we could even argue like the game shouldn't be on PlayStation, right? Whatever. Early access, and the only platform it doesn't work on is Xbox, but it works perfectly fine on Switch, on Steam, and PlayStation. Is a like that just can't happen. It can't happen. One, like so you need to it. They do this for a lot of their games too. They're doing it for Gears. They're doing it for Fable. They did it for Forza. I don't think there was any problems with Forza. But like they do enough of these early releases that I don't understand how this still ends up being a problem sometimes where it doesn't work properly. And it just adds to the clownery of like, well, it actually works on PlayStation and Steam perfectly. Well, what the fuck? Fix it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like you shouldn't have any of these problems. I don't know what else there is to say about that.
Yeah.
Particular.
I mean, apparently there was a big Xbox Live outage which contributed, I think.
So what's going on? Is it what people were saying? It was everybody hopping on to play Halo brought down the servers, but
yeah, I don't know. But there was also like PlayStation's having an issue right now as well, I think, or it was earlier. I don't know if it's still ongoing. But yeah, I don't know. It shouldn't have happened. And I in fact on that point I wanted to ask you something. Do you think this being multi-platform took some of the shine off? Do you think this, because you've said that in the past where it's like some of Xbox's first party games probably would have done better if they'd been exclusive.
Well, I don't know if
they would have had this prestige.
I don't know if they say done better because like, like I think I mentioned that about Doom, and we were wondering like, well, why did Doom not do as well as previously? And I sort of felt like I bet you Doom would have been built up more if it was an exclusive, because the only thing about exclusive games are like they seem to be of a higher prestige and people put them in different tiers. Yeah, I do think if it was exclusive then it probably would be a bigger deal. Like I said, I don't know, there's something to the idea of like a game being exclusive makes people desire it more, where like when you're just a regular multi-platform release, it's like, oh, whatever. It's just you just are. I don't know. We'll see if this was a good decision. If it does, God help it if it doesn't sell on PlayStation, and it's like you did all this stuff to release it on PlayStation and nobody cared. You know what I mean? Which I think
got a feeling people care.
I mean, I think people would. I think people are still going to get it regardless because it is Halo 1. And I still think there is a bit of that novelty factor of owning this game on the PlayStation that maybe didn't exist for something like Avowed or some of the other Xbox games, but certainly existed for like Forza Horizon or like Sea of Thieves, the games that did pretty well. So, yeah. So, I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, I thought I was going to be bored out of my mind, and I wasn't. It was, dude, we had so much fun in co-op, man. Like, these games are just built for co-op. It's built to just that large sandbox and all the toys to play with and stuff, and just having a good time with your friends. And, it's so.
Maybe I'll hit my brother and play it.
It's so good.
So I was trying to play it solo, and it's like this is fine.
Well, the thing is,
I agree with you.
Solo,
like, I got strong memories of playing that on Legendary, my brother, when we were young kiddos. So
I mean, I think I played it solo as well when it came out. Maybe I think maybe I might have tried it in split screen with my brother back then in like 2004 was when I played it because I didn't play it right away. But
Yeah.
no, it's good. I mean, but you're gonna have everyone's gonna have an opinion on this game regardless because I've seen people say that it's dog shit and that the game looks bad, that the gameplay changes are irredeemable, and you know, uh,
Everyone's so angry these days, bro.
I don't know. It's like I've always said, nobody hates Halo more than Halo fans, right? So your enjoyment may vary. If you're a purist, maybe you'll hate it. You know, I love Halo, and I still really enjoyed this despite some of the changes. Some of the jokes do fall flat. I don't know if you've the Master Chief does the whole boo thing, and it just in the new mission, it's kind of like, yeah, that one didn't work. But
Yeah, the
there's a couple other
dialogue has not been great.
yeah, some of the dialogue in like the bonus missions aren't good at all. But
No.
overall, this was a very fun time, and I'm actually like looking forward to a Halo 2 because even though I also played Halo 2 to death as well, I'd be like, all right, let's do this. Maybe do another set of prequel missions. I don't know how you could because I guess you would just be like the continuing adventures of Johnson and Master Chief, right? But I don't know. This also makes me think like, man, they just need to do more with Halo in general. Not even necessarily Master Chief, but like more stories, more characters, more
Halo
types of
Wars
things.
3, baby. The
Like
best Halo.
There's like
Halo Wars.
there is like a good like when you meet the Flood and stuff and those like there's honest to god horror like vibes going in that stuff. Like the way the music is, the lighting in that level, like the zombie approach of it. Like there's I
People
think
have
we
often
always
said there should be a horror Halo.
yeah, a horror Halo. And I know they're gonna be like, hey, I think they still want to do a TV show or movie of Halo, and maybe you should. I wouldn't necessarily be against it, but one thing I will point out, and because I just saw it on screen watching the gameplay, is they added this thing where like sometimes when you're at the last enemies, they like put markers over them, and I hate that. I hate that because it's not something you can change or turn off. I hate it.
I didn't hate that because
I
sometimes like you can't move to the next area until you've killed all the enemies.
I
Right?
know, but that just screams to me.
Sometimes you can't find them.
That just screams to me of the whole yellow paint stuff, where like developers aren't sure the gamers are super smart enough to figure it out for themselves and to save. So they have to mark everything with paint. Where it's like you got to kill the last 3 enemies or the last whatever. So we're gonna put markers over it, and it's just.
I tell you one thing.
I don't like it whatsoever.
One thing, yeah. In that vein, I tell you one thing that did hit different for me was just Cortana in general. Like in the post ChatGPT era,
Yeah,
like
where
the
AI
way
didn't
Cortana
exist in
kind of
2001, but now does.
yeah, and Cortana's kind of like giving you hints and tips and making sort of these weird sycophantic kind of quips, even though there's like dead people around you and stuff. It's kind of like this hits kind of different now in 2026. You know, I'm sure the rampancy shit will too eventually, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So that's our thoughts on good old Halo. What's else we got here? I mean, I mentioned it before. Back Compat. That was one of the big announcements for this past week, right?
Yeah,
We have
sure was.
we have Back Compat here. So out of nowhere, they announced that Xbox backward compatibility is coming to PC with a selection of 4 iconic original Xbox games: Blinks, the Time Sweeper, Fusion Frenzy. What did I play Blinks? Have I played Blinks? No.
It's your favorite, isn't it?
No. Fusion Frenzy, which is like a party game. Crimson Skies, which was pretty cool for back then, and then Conquer Live and Reloaded, which is like okay. So yeah, and
Our buddy Clobril should be happy about that, right?
yeah. I mean, a lot of people are super happy about this because it means more things are becoming to PC. Like, and I think they already data mined through the 360 emulator or something. So
yes, so yeah, it's based on a 360. The whole thing's based on a 360 emulator. So you can pretty much guarantee there's going to be some of the 360 back compat stuff there once they can, get it running. I mean, it is considering these games are pretty old. It does run quite intensively. These aren't ports. These are truly emulated games that sort of function as packages on the Xbox store, but they are emulated. So like there is this sort of like performance overhead when it has to like do the translation, or the
Yeah.
emulation. Sorry. So, but it'll only get better over time, and I would not be surprised if in 10 years or so it starts running Xbox One games and shit. I really do think that's the way this is going.
Well, a
But
lot
we'll
of
see.
this also has to do with potentially the future of Xbox in general with Helix, because if Helix is PC, then they needed to sort of do this to get everything working, right? So it's like,
Yeah, kind of.
s-
Well, no, actually,
you know,
because Helix has the
well,
Xbox
Helix will
One
have the
chip in it.
the chip in it, yeah. So that is
Yeah, so
true.
Helix won't have to emulate Xbox One or Series S and X games,
But it would have
but
to do
it would
360.
still have,
Yeah.
yeah, it would have to emulate the
So
360
you'd have to
stuff.
get it working on PC to get it to work. And like they say now that you can buy each of these 4 games on PC right now. They're included with Game Pass. If you already own these games digitally, you get a
Mm,
license that you can now play it on your PC or your handheld because it's Xbox Play Anywhere, cloud gaming, and all that stuff. Um, they've added new features, so players can customize the graphics settings, including up to 4 times the resolution upscaling, VSync support, full screen and window display mode, etc., etc., etc. But the biggest things, in fact, the big thing, the most fan requested thing about all this stuff is that in the future they will be adding achievements to these OG Xbox games that never had achievements because 360 launched with achievements, so all the 360 Back Compat games already have them. OG ones never did, so achievements will be coming, and it'll be very interesting to see how much of the OG Xbox collection gets added over time, and like what those
mm,
achievements are, because like Star Wars Jedi, Knights of the Republic, like what are the achievements going to be for Conquer and Fusion Frenzy and all those sort of games, right? So,
yep.
and it's another thing of like, I honestly thought this would never happen because I don't think because and I don't, how do I say this? I don't think this happens under Phil, and but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this was already like under work under Phil, but I sort of feel like the achievement stuff specifically wouldn't have been.
No.
Uh, Even though I've had talks with Phil about the achievement stuff and whatever, but like I sort of feel like it wouldn't have been. Like I do think the Back Compat stuff, the PC was gonna come under him regardless, but I feel like the achievement stuff is probably, I don't, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe somebody at Xbox is listening to this and being like, "You're an idiot, Rand," but I feel like that's maybe more of an Asha led decision of taking a look at seeing like, hey, what are the top requested features of something? We're already doing Back Compat on PC. Let's see if we can get the achievement stuff in there. Where I sort of feel like they wouldn't have done that in the previous administration, but then I could be wrong.
Yeah, maybe.
That's just my read on it. But I think that's cool. I don't know how many of those games I'll actually play, but I do think it's a very fan focused thing. And of course, as some journalists say, this is all just key jingling to distract us from Microsoft losing 4 studios and laying off all these people. So
Mm.
shouldn't be too excited about it, Jez. You actually you should be upset that they're even doing this after laying off all these people. You should be angry. Everybody should be angry.
Mm.
You should be angry all the time. You should be angry all the time and consume, 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 and get more so we can make more money. Just be angry and just watch the ads and just be angry and be miserable constantly and be bitter
Yeah.
and
I'm
just
just curious, like what is the like the approved amount of time before you can start enjoying video games again after like layoffs and
no,
shit?
no, you're
I
supposed
don't
to be
know.
angry all the time, 24/7, just mad and just bitter and just hateful.
But what about supporting the devs that are still employed at
Uh,
Xbox?
uh,
No?
You can't
No, no,
support the
no?
devs on Xbox. You can only support them on PlayStation, PC, and Nintendo. We want Xbox dead and
Oh.
gone.
Oh.
We want them gone.
Well, damn, like damn. I guess
It does. Don't even
it's
tell me
GG.
like, oh, you want them gone? Yeah, I want them all gone. I want everybody laid off, so I can then bitch about that for hundreds of my articles and my podcasts, and so I can make more money off of it. So I can virtual signal to everybody that I'm cool like all you other San Francisco people. I too hate Microsoft. I'm like you. We're the same.
I wish I had friends. That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
I'm gonna
Maybe I
take.
should start an Xbox and then I'll get friends too.
I'm gonna take a look at a couple of super chats here. We have the Savage says Desert Island games. One fighter, one racer, one shooter forever. Mine is Mario Kart, or MK, Mortal Kombat, Mario Kart, Halo. What's your holy trinity? For a fighter, probably Mortal Kombat 3 for sure, or Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. A racer, God, I don't know. I would say one of the Forza Horizon 3s, but maybe Mario Kart would be better, or like a Mario Kart game, like an arcade racer.
Wait, is this our favorite or the
No,
what we
a
think is the
desert
best?
island game. Like if you're on a desert island, you could bring
Oh,
one
Desert
fighter, one
Island.
racer, one shooter. So for me, the
That's a good
fighter would be
question.
Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Racer, maybe one of the Mario Karts. Shooter, I mean, if I can connect online, maybe PUBG, says people actually still play it. Because who knows, Marathon doesn't seem like long for the world. But in general, like my favorite is like Halo. So it would be Halo. So yeah.
Mm.
What would be yours, Jez? World of Warcraft. Well,
Well,
he didn't say an RPG, so you can't choose World of Warcraft.
yeah, so I mean, I suppose for fighting game, it's going to be Killer Instinct, presuming you can connect
Okay.
online.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, or maybe one of the WWE games would last longer. I don't know. But nah, I think Killer Instinct if we can go online. For racing game, oh man, I don't really like racing games that much, but maybe Mario Kart as well. I mean, it seems like the one that's gonna have the most juice, I suppose, over time. Um, and what was the other one? Shooter, Overwatch, easy.
Overwatch. You know what's
Overwatch.
funny? One of my friends was playing Overwatch, Jez, and I noticed when I looked at his profile, he said he was playing Overwatch 2. They haven't changed that.
They haven't changed it. No, what a surprise.
But like when you actually look at the game, it says Overwatch. But like when it's when you look at somebody and it says what they're playing, it said Overwatch 2, and I was like, wait a minute, they haven't updated this?
Yeah, someone needs to update that. Yeah,
Oh, somebody's
I
not
suppose it's just a client
not
thing.
doing their job. We have the one and only Infinite Umbra saying, "Someone get these beggars out of here," with the hard AR. That's right. Someone get these beggars out of here. Oh, great meme. Great.
I haven't
Alvin,
seen it. How have I not seen this meme?
I don't know. Alvin says, "Send the beggars gift to PS5 dudes asking for E-Day." Yeah, I've definitely seen some PS5 dudes being like, "Just announce it for PlayStation." Send them that gift. Someone get these beggars out of here. Come on, you gotta find it, Jez. Go look for it right now.
I'll go find it. My Instagram, like I usually get exposed to memes via Instagram, and my Instagram feed just obsession stuff
Yeah,
right now.
it's
It's like, oh, so here's the latest obsession theory, and you know, okay, I've seen the movie now. Let me see something else. It's obsession and cat videos.
cat videos, of course.
I like cats.
We got Talcat who says, "Talk about COD PC remote code execution 987." Dude, I have no idea about COD PC remote stuff. Like I coming to the
Yeah,
wrong
so
person for that stuff.
I've been speaking to this chap on Twitter. There is a big issue with older COD games where they've got a vulnerability on them, a Steam version, which lets people literally hack your shit through them. So again, I don't know much about it, and he's on my to-do list to investigate and get Xbox and Activision to give a response on it. But I'm only one dude, and I'm so busy, and you know, you just have to be a bit more patient about when I can actually, you know, look at this properly. But me and Rand don't know a fat lot about it right now, so bear with me, please. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. Everybody try to send Jez. If you find the beggars thing, send it to Jez. We need to have him see it right now.
Yeah, educate me.
We need to. Oh, here it is. I see it. Let's see. If I play it, it'll actually play on the show.
Somebody get these beggars out of here!
There we go. I'm gonna send you this tweet because it's here. Okay, hold on. Watch, I played that, and then they're gonna like DMCA the podcast for the 3-second clip. There you go, Jeff.
Where'd you put it?
I DM'd you on Discord. Check it out.
Right, I'm
3
gonna
seconds
check
long.
it out. This is really important.
This is important.
This is from the Odyssey.
This is from the Odyssey. Yep. What do you think?
Oh, fantastic.
But I'm saying like people are using it literally for everything, and it works perfectly. I love it. I haven't even seen the movie yet.
I really want to see it, but I'm not. I want to see the backrooms first. I think I'm in a big horror kick right now. A really
Yeah.
big one. Love me some horror, bro.
There we go. Someone else will just tagged us in it on Twitter.
Sweet.
All right. So what else we have here to talk about? Let me take a look. See.
Got all the super chats.
Yes.
Before we move
on. So we briefly mentioned this with Circana stuff in regards to the data of the PlayStation, but there was some actually good news for Xbox, because typically with Xbox hardware, it's been nothing but bad news for probably 2.5 years now, if not 3 years. It's been down every single month, every single year. So it's like the 1 year. I think it's the 1 year anniversary of the Switch 2 launch. So I think the sales were down obviously a lot for Switch 2. I think it was down like something like 79%. PlayStation 5 was down as well. And Xbox, surprisingly, was up 85% from last June, which I think May last year is when they had the. I could be wrong, but I think that's when they had the one of the price increases. So people are wondering, okay, why has it gone up? Is it because of the showcase? Is it because of the exclusivity coming back? Is it because of Grand Theft Auto pre-order starting, where people realized they needed to like buy a new system? Is it because of the announcement that Xbox is raising prices again, which I think are taking... Xbox announced they're raising prices again. That wasn't just a fever dream that I remember, correct?
Yes, they are. Yeah, in August.
And when they did announce that in June, right? Or did they announce that in May?
I think they announced it in June, off the top of my head.
So maybe it's that. So even though it's up 85%, which is a great number, rather be up than be down, they still were number 3 for consoles sold and money made. So even though they're almost up 100%, it didn't really shift their positioning whatsoever. Is this a one-time fad of people just getting in to buy it before the price increase? Where next month it goes back down, or is this a trend that will continue on? I don't know. What's your read on this, Jez?
I really think we can't really take a lot away from this, because when you are like so low down, even like a relatively small movement on the numbers can have a big percentage swing. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Circana actually offered a granular look at how many units are actually being sold.
No, they don't say how much is sold. So yeah,
it's always a percentage. So they've been down percentage wise like almost every quarter for the last million quarters. So I don't think this is indicative of anything major, but like you said, up is better than down. But this could also be there could be a bunch of different factors here. Like, first of all, Xbox sold less than 200 units in Japan last month, I think, if I remember correctly. And it's kind of like,
I mean, that's not a surprise.
Have they? Yeah, but there has been months where they sold thousands of units in Japan.
Sure, yes.
So
that's true.
Part of me is just like, have they just reallocated all their stock to the United States in the short term to beat tariffs and try and claim a bit of some margins back, kind of thing, right? So there's that aspect of it. I do think a lot of people are realizing, oh shit, we need an Xbox for GTA, and Xbox does have the cheapest entry point to the ecosystem, the current gen ecosystem. So there could be that on top. There could also be like, there was a big Walmart sale in June, if I remember correctly. So maybe that had an impact. And also, yeah, the knowledge that there is price hikes coming could have also had an impact.
Yeah.
But I do think like it's hardly like the positive momentum that Ash has been putting out. I hardly think that has hurt things. And I saw a lot of mainstream YouTubers comment on the way Ash has been doing things, and people are like, "Oh my God, is Xbox back?" And people are fickle, and maybe I have received messages from people who sold their Xboxes and ended up bringing them back recently and buying them again because it's like, maybe I was too hasty selling my Xbox. So it could be some aspects of that too. So I suppose what will be really interesting to see more than anything for me is if this trend continues next month and the month after that, because that would suggest to me one of two things. Either they do have some genuine positive momentum, or perhaps more likely is Ash has managed to land some kind of memory contract, which lets them boost production a little bit. We did hear like earlier in the year, Microsoft landed a new contract in Vietnam, I want to say, for producing Xbox consoles, which could have reduced some of the margin pressure that they were enduring because of tariffs and that kind of thing. So maybe that's part of it too. And this is sort of like we're starting to see the fruits of some of those deals. But one thing I do know is like from speaking to people at Xbox over Summer Game Fest was like they've got teams like working 24/7 on specifically acquiring memory and some of the rest of those sort of systemic kind of issues with Xbox hardware right now. So I suppose we'll see if the trend continues. I don't think this is necessarily like something people can be like, oh my God, Xbox is so back, because it's probably, if I had to guess, it's probably not going to continue into August. But if it does, I think something maybe has genuinely changed. So yeah, I don't know.
I guess we'll see.
We'll see what happens.
I don't know. I mean, it could be one of many. I don't know. I can't really see people being like, "Oh, I need to buy an Xbox because GTA 6 pre-orders are out or whatever." But, yeah, I mean, if that's something if it continues next month and then every month going forward, then it's actually like an absolute story where like something's going on. But if it's next month, if next month you're just because it's clearly gonna crater when the price increase goes up, right? When that gets implemented, right? So if it's up another 80% next month, and then like another whatever the month after that, it'd be like, okay, something's going on here. But if it's just a 1 month fluke, I don't know what to really say about it. I mean, it's better to be up than be down. I will say that, like, and I don't know if there's that much more to say, but it's at least line went up, right? That's always a good thing. It's always
the PC
always
market
a good thing.
the PC market is expected to see huge declines this year because of the memory thing. Also Samsung just announced their new phones, the Fold. Both of those went up by a huge amount, and this is despite the fact that Samsung literally makes the memory. So, it's a tough time for any device that requires memory, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know.
So
It's one of them, isn't it?
yeah, let's talk about. I want to talk about your article about there's a lot of things that are going on about Game Pass. And they're asking a lot of people for their opinions. Like the former Forza Horizon 5 director came out with a take on Game Pass, which I thought it was a pretty solid take. He said, "I think it's really sad and I think it's really unfortunate. They honestly invested a fortune in the concept of Game Pass, which led to loads of teams being acquired, loads of games being funded, loads of people getting jobs, all with the vision of getting regular games landing in the service for players. I think the reality is not enough people have subscribed to it at the prices they needed to pay in order to make the business viable, and now that's just really sad because we're now going to see studios getting shut down or spun off. Loads of people are going to lose their jobs." And that is honestly just a result of a well-meaning player-focused concept of Xbox Game Pass not quite landing. And I think that it's just a real shame. Like I think
he's completely right. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's like the honest to God best take I've like seen from somebody, because it does. Yeah, it's like they beefed up for Game Pass. They get all these new studios and hire all these people. They want to hit a number and they didn't, and now they gotta kind of do the reset of it. But on that is Jason Schreier came out and basically said along the lines that some of the studio leaders at Xbox detest Game Pass, absolutely detest it, believing it is destroying the value of their games, and they also argue that it diminishes the value of all games in general, even on the store. And that, according to Jason, those leaders view Game Pass as detrimental to the gaming industry because of how it devalues games. But then you did your own digging to see what you could get because you got sources there. So what did you find out?
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to a bunch of studio heads, and a couple of my sources don't even like Jason Schreier, so they had like every incentive to downplay what he said, potentially, but they were pretty much said exactly the same thing, which was like the concept of that it devalues games and things like that. Um, and also like one thing that was brought up to me repeatedly was this concept that the way Microsoft allocates resources based on engagement is not it's not transparent enough, and it's not motivating for the teams to be like, oh, your game got this much engagement compared to, oh, we got this much sales, right? So I think there's an issue with how Microsoft communicates internally about why Game Pass exists on the one side. I think on the other side there is an issue where um Microsoft perhaps some studios feel like they're not being allocated money appropriately to offset the cannibalized sales, for one thing. But the other sources I spoke to were kind of like the whole point of Game Pass was to sort of push back against free to play. And it's if we're talking about what devalues games, I think it's really disingenuous to ignore the rise of free to play. We talked a little bit about it earlier, but that's really the issue is like a whole generation's grown up expecting free, you know, free with ads or just free outright and free with microtransactions or whether it's gacha games, whether it's skins, Fortnite, whether it's ads or on mobile games. Like I think that's done way more to devalue games, but also like Steam sales too. Like I think more people engage with Steam sales and just being like, you know what, I'll just wait. If a game isn't perfect, I'll just wait. There's literally like no reason to rush out and pre-order a game for a lot of people. Well, honestly, for anyone really, there's so much to be playing. The backlogs are so vast and unwieldy that really you're only pre-ordering games new these days if you're literally someone with disposable income. And I think I really genuinely believe that take. That really the thing devaluing games all up is free to play, mobile. And I think Xbox Game Pass is it's a it's in vogue to hate on Xbox right now in general. And I would presume that like a lot of I think it's a convenient scapegoat, when you look at like the way user behavior has shifted. I think we've talked about on this show, like how can Game Pass simultaneously be awful and nobody wants it, but also it's single-handedly destroying the whole game industry? Like how is that possible? It's certainly true that Game Pass is like been mismanaged. And I think we saw the limits of the business model when Call of Duty went in there and the cannibalization of the sales wasn't enough. I mean, the cannibalization of the sales was too much to be offset by the revenue from the subscription. It kind of like I think if the play is to put everything in there, you kind of have to like do a Netflix thing where it's like we're gonna accept that we're gonna lose money for 10 years, or Spotify thing. Spotify lost money for 10 years before it was profitable, and I think Microsoft just doesn't have the balls to do something like that. They would have had to subsidize Game Pass for a decade to really truly change user behavior, and they ain't got the balls to do that.
A decade would be literally next year. So I mean, they almost kind of did.
Well, I think a decade with Call of Duty in there.
Oh,
Because
okay.
we've talked about this from the Cyberpunk days, which is like they don't have the banger. They don't have the banger. They don't have the bangers. Call of Duty potentially was that game, but the problem is they weren't going to stick it through. Whereas Spotify was like, to investors, stick with us, stick with us, stick with us. Eventually, we'll go from millions in the red to millions in the black, and then billions in the black, and they've done it. They changed all of user behavior around music acquisition, So I suppose like there's that's the other half of this is like the only way for Game Pass to succeed potentially long term was to potentially like really change user behavior and also maybe finish off the retail model. But at least for now, the retail model's hanging on, and there is a huge contingent of people, very passionate, very engaged core gamers who are basically single-handedly funding the whole ecosystem in a universe where an entire generation has divested themselves to free-to-play Roblox, Fortnite, whatever else, right? So I don't think Game Pass is going to go away, but I do think they're gonna look at ways to make the business model work a little bit more healthily long term in a universe where it's never going to compete with the old Steam model of sales. It's never really, I don't think, going to compete with. I don't think it's ever going to take away from retail, which I think is what it would have had to have done to survive. Is really replace retail. I don't think Phil or anyone ever wanted that. They wanted to have their cake and eat it, but I just don't think that it survives in that universe. So I think the future for Game Pass is probably going to be an a la carte model where you choose the games you want. More of the revenue going towards third parties to help indies, double A's fund their shit, which I don't think is a bad thing. Like Ash has even said, we shouldn't be competing with these smaller studios. We should be supporting them. So I think that's where it goes as well. Clearly, there's going to be less first-party content in there because, they've shut down a bunch of studios. So clearly the play isn't to put more first-party content in there. But I don't think Game Pass is going to go away because the reality remains that it's still billions in the revenue annually. But the problem is most of that revenue comes from the people who are already really invested in the platform, And it was never meant to be a play where it was like, the play was never meant to be, let's make more money from the people we've already got. The play was supposed to be, let's find new users. But it just never worked out like that. It's the people that, were already engaged on Xbox who subscribe to it.
I was thinking of this. Let me ask you this. I wonder if Xbox looks at PlayStation Plus and wonders, is that the model we should be chasing after? Because Xbox. Well, no, it's like because PlayStation Plus has to cost Sony less to run than Game Pass, right? There's no day one games. It's all just catalog stuff, and they have.
It's like a vault of content.
And they like Xbox has 30 million subscribers, and PlayStation Plus has something like 48, almost close to 50. So like, they might be making a lot more money because it doesn't cost them enough. So I sort of wonder if they are like, maybe that's what we should go after. Even though I do think the idea of maybe losing day one in the future, which I think is certainly possible, especially if all your studio heads like hate the idea of Game Pass. Like I sort of wonder if they'd all be full, because like I think you mentioned that one studio head you talked to said it makes the games feel like worthless, or that they aren't good enough to actually be charged for money.
Sell on their own, yeah.
Yeah, which is what I always said about like
reduces the prestige of the game.
Yeah, which is what I always said before about like indie games or certain games when the standard is $70 and the game's $50. Some people think to themselves, "Well, what's wrong with the game? Like, why isn't it full price? Is there something?"
Do you remember those discussions about ReCore?
I 100% remember those discussions about ReCore. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I think the way they're talking about it, I do foresee a future where day one is limited, or maybe like Jez is right. Maybe it's like, an a la carte thing, and you decide what you want and whatever. But I do think there'll be eventual changes forward, and I don't think they're gonna. They obviously I don't think they're gonna announce it yet because they still have games coming to the service like Gears E-Day and Fable and those sort of things. So it's probably not something they can get away from just yet. But I do think in the future,
it still makes a ton of money. Like,
yeah, but
it's
then
really
you could
just
always
about
make
discovering the hack. happy medium. And I think
maybe it could make more money because you're spending less if you don't have to spend for day one. I mean, that's probably where a lot of their overhead comes from. Is how like there was that report that came out that they spent like to get this isn't necessarily a Game Pass thing, but maybe is with Stalker 2 where they paid more than the entire dev budget.
that was false.
Okay, that was false. Okay, so
like the Stalker dev, the person who said that was the former owner of GSC, and but he hasn't been there for a while. He sold the company, but he still talks about the company sometimes. But he sold the company a fairly long time ago, and he like a GSC came out and was like, "Nah, that's not true," So, and it does seem like there's some weirdness there between the former owner of GSC because some of the other stuff he said's a bit strange, but I don't know. Apparently, it wasn't true, but the fact remains that they spend a ton of money on it, and some of this money comes out of some of the money comes out of some of these budgets. And I do know Microsoft did go hard funding Stalker 2, but as part of like their support for Ukraine, not necessarily the game too, because like their studio got attacked potentially and caught fire, and they think it might have been arson, sabotage, and that kind of thing. I don't know.
right.
Complicated situations, but I do wonder, like, because like I say, it's still stable revenue with Game Pass. There's still like a ton of money being poured into Game Pass by the core user base, and you have to wonder, like, is keeping that revenue? It's almost like a risk if you devalue Game Pass and you stop doing those kind of things that we've talked about, like you start taking games out, you start putting ads in it. The whole value proposition of Game Pass is its value. So if it loses its value, then it might as well not exist. And then you kind of like, you get into another discussion about, well, okay, well, if you don't have Game Pass, you don't have that guaranteed revenue, then you kind of need to start doing exclusive games and selling hardware again. But if you can't sell hardware because there's no memory, then you kind of need Game Pass, don't you? It's kind of like, it's a weird, there's not a lot of flexibility that Asher has right now. There's not enough levers Asher can pull to really rock the boat in the current state of the industry, I kind of feel like.
Well, it's interesting you bring
If things
up
were different, maybe she could just go back to the old model of exclusives, hardware, cheaper hardware, subsidize that, and then make the money on the sales of selling other people's games and shit. But it feels like the disruption would be too much for Xbox to bear right now. I don't know.
Well, you bring up the exclusivity because there are some comments from Booty and Matt Ball the other day where like
Booty and Ball.
Booty and Ball, where like Booty once again kind of muddying the waters and not really, they say they want to explain her stance, but he's kind of like, because he was also not even taken out of context. One of the accounts just straight up lied and said like, hey, gamers are too focused on single player games, end sentence, when it was like he said it was like too focused on single player games being exclusive or whatever.
Absolutely not what he said.
Yeah, but of course misinformation thrives and people need to get their Elon bucks, so whatever works.
Well, I'll tell you this something, because I am someone who earns Elon bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it is a genuinely generous program. Like, I pay for my groceries with that shit right now. And but the big accounts that like they push, like, I don't know, billions of views a month. Like, I get millions of views on Twitter. Like, I'm start getting billions of views a month. They probably are incentivized to do clickbait, but X has been like cracking down on some of this shit. Like, I noticed that, for example, if your tweet gets community noted, you lose all the revenue from that tweet. So yeah, if you see a tweet that's bullshit and you think, oh, they're just revenue farming, get that shit community noted and you will deprive that account of revenue.
We should do that to all your tweets.
Yeah, please don't do that.
So like Matthew Ball said in this interview with Games Radar, I think, that large service titles would likely be multi-platform. And that Matt Booty said, I wouldn't overly fixate on single player. I think that's a good rule of thumb, but it certainly isn't something that's carved in stone. Booty said, we're the stewards of over 20 game franchises that have made $1 billion in their lifetime. There are a lot of different games in our portfolio, and we have to think about how different games serve different purposes within it. Booty and Ball conceded that the messaging hasn't been clear to some players, and they're working to make sure it's easier to understand in the future. Matthew Ball said, "We have a framework for these selections, including how we evaluate them. I recognize that this approach is not obvious to all players, and we're committed to making this clear," which, by them speaking like this, they aren't. Booty said, "Something you should look for us going forward is that when we put a date in a game, we'll also announce what platform it's coming to." I mean, basically they're saying there's going to be more exclusives, which of course is something that we kind of knew. The publication, so Game Radar claims that senior officials at Xbox said decisions were still being made on whether to make titles like Elder Scrolls 6 and other unannounced Activision, Bethesda, Blizzard, and Xbox Game Studios titles console exclusives or multi-platform releases. And now we sort of had a big discussion about this last week, so I don't know if I need to reiterate my point, which I'll just state again. If they're serious about it, then the Fallout games and Elder Scrolls will be exclusive. If they're not serious about it, then they won't be. And that's how I view it. If you're serious about literally building the platform, then the vast majority of the games have to be exclusive. If the idea is like, we just want to satiate the hardcore and not have everybody leave, and we really don't have plans for a lot of the exclusivity, and it's just token exclusivity, then that's not going to work. And, because I mentioned before to you, Jez, having Gears Z-Day exclusive and just having Clockwork Revolution is not going to do anything. Like, if you legitimately want people to choose you, you have to do it with your biggest franchises. And I understand you can't do it with Call of Duty because you signed a 10-year deal. I get it. And you wouldn't do it anyway with them, even if you didn't have a deal, because Call of Duty costs too much money and brings in too much money. I understand. But for these single-player games and for all this stuff, they should all be exclusive. And if they're not, then you're not serious people. It's as simple as that. You're not serious people.
I agree. I agree completely.
And I understand the difficulty 100%. It is probably to try to convince people within the company that, hey, Elder Scrolls 6 needs to be exclusive. Because the counter argument is going to be, but if it was on PlayStation, it would make X amount of money. Okay? I understand that arguments probably, especially if you have like the Bethesda or like Matt Booty, because Matt Booty runs all the studios. So Matt Booty is probably in favor of the multi-platform push because he probably wants as much money coming in for his studios that he could possibly get. But the platform is probably like, we need people here playing our games and spending money on the store and spending money on It's only going to work if we grow the platform. And it's tough to grow the platform if you also can't sell hardware because the hardware is too expensive. So I get the arguments of, how are we going to do this when, is anybody going to buy Helix at $1,000 or whatever it's going to be? Are we just sending Elder Scrolls out to die? But it's I don't necessarily think so, because I would imagine Elder Scrolls would be cross-gen on Xbox Series X, on Helix, also on Steam. And I've said it before, and you've said it before, Xbox plus PC, meaning Steam, should be more than enough. Should be more than enough for all this stuff. But of course, people are greedy.
Is it ever enough for these people?
No, it's never enough. It's never enough. But like I reiterate again, one more time, if Asha's listening, or whoever at Xbox, if you're serious about this, then those games have to be exclusive. No ifs, ands, or buts. And that's all there is to it. So when you make those decisions, whenever those decisions are made, whenever fucking Elder Scrolls comes out, which might be 2029, I understand. Maybe Asha's not even there. Maybe Satya's not even CEO. Because, that's still 3 years away. Anything can happen in 3 years. Maybe the mission statement changes yet again. Who knows with Microsoft?
I'll tell you something. If the AI bubble bursts, Satya definitely won't be CEO.
Yeah. But if you really, really want to move people and get people to buy your hardware and do all that stuff, they have to be. 100%. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, that's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. Agreed. Are you serious, people, or are you not? Is it just... Is it... to use a thing we've said a lot this show, is giving Gears E-Day and Clockwork Revolution exclusives just key jingling to Xbox hardcore fans with the hope that they do it with everything moving forward?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So, yeah, you know what? Jez, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Nah, man.
We
Let's
got a
grab some
couple
super chats, some
super chats here.
Patreon Q&As, and then rock on.
We got Baldy McNosehair, who says, "Did you hear that Tomb Raider Catalyst got delayed to 2028? Also, this will be the first Tomb Raider game not to get a PS5 physical release." We did. We talked about that in the beginning, and I totally forgot about the idea if that it does come out in 2028, it won't get a physical release. That's kind of crazy.
Which game is that?
Tomb Raider Catalyst.
Oh, yeah.
If it's launching in 2028, it wouldn't get a physical release.
No physical dicks.
No physical dicks. Crazy. Yeah, 2028 is really not that far, because if you're a 2027 game and you get delayed, yeah, you're right into 2028. We also have another one. Good old Collinwood says, so Schreier's article and unnamed studio heads talked to him. How does management talk to studios knowing what they said? Well, they also talked to Jez. But yes.
It's Microsoft's a big ass company, right?
Mhm.
I think sometimes we forget just how big this company is. So you've got like thousands of people, literally thousands, all with different opinions, and they know there's going to be loads of different opinions about everything. They've got internal comms, and they obviously Microsoft reads the stuff that is being reported. I spoke to Microsoft about, because the done thing is like, and I didn't really know this until very super recently. But apparently the done thing is like, if you're going to do a report, you're supposed to give them a heads up and be like, here's your opportunity to offer a response or whatever. This is what you get for not going to journalism school, I guess. But it's kind of one of them. What can they really do about it? If it's about communicating better. If the studio heads generally have a perception that Game Pass is hurting them, Microsoft needs to do something to prove that it doesn't, if indeed it doesn't. But there's, on the face of it, you could argue, well, obviously it does do harm, because you're giving away our games for less than $70. But the counter argument to that would be, Rand, that maybe those games wouldn't have sold at $70 anyway. And I think we've certainly seen that to be true from some $70 games that came out that didn't go into Game Pass and didn't sell.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if a game is good, it's gonna get engagement or sell regardless. I don't think Game Pass is the thing that devalues games personally. I think it's free to play all up, and I really think it's Apple and Google to blame for enabling that business model that has hurt the medium. Enabling the barrel scraping kind of junk kind of games, which I suppose prevent people from even considering gaming as a real hobby, and they just sort of perceive it as this cheap little crappy thing. But you could also make the argument maybe those people never would have played games. There's no crystal ball. There's no way to peer into an alternative reality.
So I think, in regards to the Jason Schreier thing, like, how can management look at these studio heads that said these things or whatever? I think it's also partially because I bet you those studio heads have told them this. I bet you those studio heads have mentioned that how they feel about Game Pass right to management in previous, I don't think it's one of those things where they keep it bottled up and they didn't mention it, because I mean, even with the multi-platform stuff, when it was like, are we going to do this or are we not? I kept on hearing about how there was basically two camps within Xbox, about those that wanted to do the multi-platform push and those that didn't. So, I probably, in my mind, I'd imagine this isn't really news to Xbox or any of the people there, that they have expressed their views about Game Pass. And it was just like, well, it's a company thing. We just, okay. Yeah, when we speak publicly about it, when they first went to like Gears, when like Rod Ferguson, when Gears, which would have been the first one? Gears 5, right? Gears 5 would have been the first one in Game Pass. Remember they all talked about like, oh, we had to like get all these new users and it's all great. They talked up about Game Pass and how they had to change things up for the new users or whatever. But I would imagine also privately they're probably like, we'd rather sell this as a proper game. We'd rather sell this than have these people come in that are probably going to play the game for 15 minutes and just drop it, because sometimes that's what it is. So I don't think Xbox was like caught with pants down, and they're sitting there like, oh God, our studio heads hate Game Pass, And but then I would also imagine there probably is some studio heads that like Game Pass. Probably particularly for the ones that actually do well within Game Pass. Like if you probably ask like studio head of Playground Games, he probably might say he likes Game Pass because Forza Horizon does pretty well. And I mean, Playground really hasn't had many layoffs over the course of the years, because Forza Horizon has been a franchise that has been on the up and up, right? So this is all one of the things about reporting is you can like, there is like I don't want to use the word agenda, but you can talk to people there that are definitely like, yeah, Game Pass sucks. And so you present it as like, I talked to some studio heads and they said they test Game Pass. But it's like, did you talk to every single one of them? Because I guarantee you if you talk to all of them, not every single one of them would have the same opinion.
No, definitely not. I didn't speak to every single one.
Right, yeah.
And like I'm pretty sure there are studio heads which like the vast audiences, that automatic audiences that come with it.
Yeah, like if you talk to like
communicate
Craig Duncan,
why it's a good thing.
When he was running like Sea of Thieves and stuff, like you'd made like Sea of Thieves Game Pass was the reason maybe Sea of Thieves had an audience to begin with, and maybe it was good for them. If so,
Judging by Craig Duncan's LinkedIn, I don't think he's a big fan of Microsoft anymore.
Why? What happened?
I get the impression.
Stuff?
I mean, I just get the vibe. He's removed all mention of Microsoft from his profile.
Oh, okay.
And that kind of stuff. It's kind of like, I'm sure like what ultimately happened is they were like, okay, you got to do these layoffs, and they were like, fuck that, we'll leave. Yeah. So him and Louise O'Connor left.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to start their own thing. It's kind of been hinted at. So I'm excited to see what Craig does.
How that works out. There's been a lot of companies that have started up. I don't even know because I don't have my notes, but I think I remember reading stories about 2 or 3 studios this week that are closing.
Oh, really?
I don't even remember the names of them, but yeah. So good luck to them.
I don't know if they're going to make a studio or do some kind of publishing thing, or I don't know, but
yeah,
tough. It's a tough time, man. It's tough.
Very, very tough time. But yeah, let's take a look at some Patreon questions.
Apparently we missed a super chat.
Did I? Oh, okay.
From Ty.
Oh, we got Ty Runner. Black Ops 1 and 2 getting PlayStation Passes daily while Xbox rots.
Yeah, there's a lot of consternation about the fact that PlayStation got an updated version of Black Ops 1 and 2 and Xbox fans didn't. I think that is very irritating. And I did ask Microsoft to comment, but they just didn't. So, I don't know. You just got to keep making noise about that shit, I guess. The obvious play there is to use the Xbox feedback website. And if it gets upvoted enough, then it's, you're making the noise then, right?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't really think they care. Maybe that's too harsh to say. I don't even know why they even bothered to do the PlayStation versions, honestly. But I mean, clearly it looks like it was a good financial decision, because I don't think they probably spent really any money on the ports. But then it's like, why didn't they do an Xbox version, or why didn't you do a Switch version? I don't know. But then it's like, it also feels like you're playing favorites to PlayStation as if the Xbox versions or the PC versions don't work well, because they're, I don't know. I get the feeling that maybe they don't care. That maybe they don't care about that, or I don't know. That's just my read on it. Maybe I'm 100% wrong. Maybe I would care more if I played Call of Duty, but I don't. I don't play the Call of Duty multiplayer, so to me it's like, yeah, if I played it, maybe I'd be like up in arms, being like, this is bullshit. And I guess, you know what? Like, there is like, you can make your argument of like, why isn't the Xbox versions getting updated? You own the company, right? Tell them to fix it. If you're gonna, do a PlayStation version, do an Xbox version.
And just give Iron Galaxy some more money. Like,
yeah. All right, so
we'll see what happens.
thanks everybody for hanging out with us. We're gonna be doing some Patreon questions here. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you always know when we go live. If you want a special VPN offer, support us. We have Surfshark, surfshark.net/XB2, 86% off 2-year deal. And Patreon, if you want to even go further. We're going to do some questions from the community right here. And then we'll get out of here and have a good weekend, because I'm going to go back and I'm going to play Halo again. I'm going to get all my skulls and all my terminals and get all those little itsy bitses, and then probably go back to Assassin. Oh no. Yeah, I'm gonna play some more Gears tonight, I think, probably. Maybe.
I'm addicted to a game that I can't talk about. It's very, very hard.
Jez has been telling me all about it. Then I'll go back to Assassin's Creed to finish that off, and I still need to go play Lego Batman. And August, the only game I'm really interested in August is Plague's Tale. Like, I love Plague's Tale, and I know this one's like a prequel, so I'm still gonna play it. And that comes out on my birthday. So Jez, give me that early, would you? Give me an early copy for that. Oh, and
it's on Game Pass.
I know, but
Plague
still.
Tale Resonance?
Yeah, Plague Tale Resonance.
Get on, you got Game Pass.
Metal Gear Solid 4, bro, also comes out that month.
Oh my god, Metal Gear Solid 4. I'm all over that.
But then the next week is like literally Blood of the Dawnwalker and Amnesia, so it's like, oh shit, Then it all begins, right?
Yeah.
So we got Aboris26 says, Jez and Rand, your BlizzCon teasing has me really excited. Have you heard anything about bringing the Warcraft and StarCraft RTS games to console? My son is chewing through the Age of Empires and Halo Wars games, and I would love to have him experience my youth. Keep it gaming. That's right, keep it gaming.
Yeah, I'm really sorry, but I haven't heard a shred about that, and I can't see it happening personally.
Yeah.
Helix is probably the only way you're going to get to experience those on console, on a quote-unquote console. But we'll see what happens. I don't know.
John Spada says, hey guys, curious of your thoughts on this concept after listening to last week's show. A Series S2 that is a closed system and cheaper. Then you would have a Series X2 that is open and more expensive. Names are just placeholders. I wouldn't actually call them this. Okay, so basically 2 systems. One is closed and cheaper, and one is open and more expensive.
They did that with Windows for a bit. So there's like on Windows, they tried this Windows with S mode.
Okay.
Where it was like you only got the Microsoft Store. And I think the idea was that like you could buy it for you. Like I bought my parents a Windows with S mode PC so they couldn't install viruses. Right? So that was the idea. But they were like, well, if you want to pay, then you can get Windows Home, which is £100, or you can get Windows Professional, which is even more, I think. So I do like that's something I want to write about soon. Is this I kind of want to make it a discussion where it's like, is it actually viable now for Microsoft to even consider putting Steam on the box? Because in a universe where the boxes are going to be more expensive than ever, you're kind of just handing away your platform to Steam. And I've seen data from how people use the Xbox Ally, and a lot of people on Xbox Ally, they never touch the Xbox ecosystem. They go straight to Steam and never look back. So I'm just kind of like, maybe this doesn't work anymore, this whole business model. But I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed because that's kind of what they're teased. They never said Steam explicitly, but they have teased it a long time. They never denied Steam was going to be a thing, though.
True.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm Mike Zero says, hey, Rand Jez, with the original Xbox games getting achievements list, who is deciding on the actual achievements? Rare is still available to make decisions, but what about defunct studios? Is the Back Compat team checking how many things you need to collect in blinks to pop the achievement? That's a good question. Like, is it something that could just easily be checked, like beating a level, where it's just something like that, where it's like the game can look and it's like, oh, pop achievement? Because you are right, like who's making the lists and how does it check? And if
I
the
have
studios,
literally no idea.
I know, but it's an interesting thought, right? Like some of these well, then again, I don't know if it's like for Blinks for whatever. Like, does the developer still exist? Is just like some random Microsoft employee going to be like, these are what I think the achievements should be, or is it just? I would imagine they're all going to be basic achievements, like beat certain levels or something like that. And because I remember reading something along those lines.
Could it be AI powered? AI watches your screen and
I don't
then
know about that.
decides you've hit an achievement. That'd be expensive, I guess.
I mean, they added, like, PlayStation has it where, like, their PlayStation Classics that added trophies. Obviously, that didn't have them on PS1 or PS2, right? And I sort of wonder how those work. But I also don't think those are sort of as complex as, like, some achievements are these days. I want to say they're more kind of just beat this level, beat this, beat that, or whatever. But I'm not 100% sure. But it is an interesting interesting thought for sure. Chris says, hey guys, hope you're having a good week. This week saw layoffs in other popular spectrums of business such as ESPN and Pixar, and it seems indicative of larger business landscape at the moment. Given so much financial instability right now, meaning less disposable income, are Xbox and PlayStation making a potentially dangerous gamble focusing on expensive hardware and full-priced AAA games? I mean, potentially. Potentially.
I mean, the thing we all have to remember is the Xbox Series S and X, and they're not going to suddenly vanish when the Helix comes out.
True.
They're still going to be releasing games for Helix. I mean, Call of Duty only just this year is dropping Xbox One and PS4. You know, it's like the first time they've done it. And how many years into the gen are we now? 6 or 7, something like that. Like, so you can expect this gen upcoming to, you know, be a similar kind of overlap. And Sony says we believe in generations, but it's like, you know, you can't believe in generations because there's no memory. So the Xbox Series S and X are going to be supported for a long time, I think, even into Helix's lifespan. So I think it's like we've argued before. I think like at the end of the day, you will have people who can afford to pay the high prices, and then you've just got to kind of hope that there'll be a scenario where you can eventually start gradually bringing the price down. You know, it's going to be very interesting to see what Sony does. I think because there's a lot of big rumors that Sony's going to release their own dedicated handheld. And we're seeing like more and more of these games get shipped with this low power mode, which Sony says is for saving electricity, but really it's so they can run the games at a lower wattage, on a lower voltage, on a, like you know, some of these you know, lower end processors and stuff like that. And it sounds like Xbox is not going to have an answer for PlayStation having a native handheld, which is another problem that we're going to be probably discussing down the line. But at least for the short term, yeah, I don't know. There's not much else they can do. They can't exactly like they can't ship like cheaper hardware because the Series S has already got like the minimum amount of RAM viable. You know, and memory's the problem. Memory's a problem. So
and they already tried the AA stuff,
Yeah.
and they said it didn't work, which is why they're focusing on the big franchises and stuff.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah,
that's what they think works. I just hope you
I
know.
get
It's
it,
funny.
yeah.
Someone DM'd me and he's like, "How quickly can you think they can get out Fallout, like the Fallout by Josh Schreier? Like how fast?" And I'm like, "Do we sure we want a fast Fallout? Like because the worst thing I
Please
think you
no.
can do is try to push something out quickly simply to meet like, oh well, the TV show's out because." And I know the Fallout
You
franchise
could hurt the
has,
franchise.
yeah. Well, but then again, like Fallout 76. I guess if Fallout 76 didn't kill the franchise, then I guess like nothing will. But you want the best game possible, you know.
Yeah.
But maybe people are like, well, Fallout 76 doesn't matter because that was multiplayer, so it wasn't like it was Fallout 5. But like you put out like a mediocre rushed Fallout game to meet some metric because you need a game for this time and it's not ready. Yeah, you bear the possibility of ruining the franchise. And that's a risk you have to really carefully weigh, you know? What else we got here? We have Nitram. Says, hey, Rand Jez. In Coach Eastwood Gaming News YouTube update video, he said that Obsidian's new Fallout game is going to be created in Bethesda's Creation Engine 2.0. Do you know if that's confirmed? Do you know if that's confirmed, or is Colt perhaps just assuming it?
Colt say that.
I mean, he's saying that Colt said it in his new video. I think Colt's probably just assuming it.
I haven't heard definitively one way or the other myself, but I don't know if Colt knows that for sure. I'd be interested to find out. Personally, I think it should be in Creation Engine, because like one of the contentions I heard about the previous Fallout project was Todd wanted it in Creation Engine for, Creation Club, which is a huge part of Bethesda's future, I think. But I think Obsidian wanted to make it an Unreal Engine because that's where their expertise is right now. I personally don't have any evidence to suggest either way won out, but my guess would be that, yeah, in a perfect world for them, Creation Engine would be the play. But does Obsidian, have the tools to do that? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think it should be on Creation Engine, personally.
Yeah, I think so too. Creation Engine's overhated.
Oh my god.
I love me Creation Engine.
This next person's name, I don't know if you've seen it. This comes from us from Please Jez on My Face. Says, since Microsoft joined gaming, there haven't really been any new competitors join the market and make it. Looking at you, Stadia. Do you think it's about time a new competitor joined the market? Go old school, exclusive games, discs, single player experiences. Think Xbox, PS2, 360, PS3. If a brand new console arrived with this sort of thing, would you jump in?
I mean, I don't think so. I think one of the issues is, like, again, coming into a mature market is incredibly hard, if not impossible. Like, we see this with phones like OnePlus, for example. OnePlus just quit making phones outside of China.
I mean, people forget, though, that we had two recent competitors enter. We had Google with Stadia. We had Amazon with Luna. People don't remember Luna. They remember Stadia because it was like the out front failure, right? And they were beating their chests. It's very difficult because if you make hardware, and especially now, it's really expensive. Like, maybe the only one that could potentially do it to come in is Apple. But, like, why would Apple want to, I guess is the question. I think Apple makes more money on their App Store than anybody makes in gaming, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's
a lot of that is gaming.
True, a lot of that is gaming, but
I do think, like, for a long time, one thing I was hearing that Apple was poaching Xbox engineers for making their own console. And I do wonder if, like, one of Apple's longer term goals is to ship an Apple TV with, I don't know, Apple Silicon in it and be like, yeah, we've got gaming stuff now, Amazon Luna just announced that Luna will now be included in Prime as well.
Dude, are you saying I got Luna now?
Yeah, you've got Luna.
Oh, wow.
As well as a bunch of other stuff you don't use, like Amazon Music.
Oh, dude, there's Amazon Music? Oh my god, my subscription pays for a lot. And I only use it for shipping in Amazon Prime, which I might watch that He-Man movie because it came to Prime. You gonna watch the He-Man movie? It's on Prime right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what movie was surprisingly good? The Sheep Detective. I watched it last week. Do you know what The Sheep Detective is, Jez?
No.
So it's a movie where Hugh Jackman... So it's like a kind of a sleepy town in the UK or whatever. Like one of those small kind of like country towns. And Hugh Jackman is a shepherd and he has a sheep. He has a bunch of sheep. And, he treats them like people and he reads them detective novels at the end of the night. And then, shocker, Hugh Jackman dies. And the sheep have to figure out who killed him. And they use their expertise.
Sheep?
Yeah, the sheep. Because the sheep talk in the movie. So the sheep have to, use use what they've learned from all the detective novels he read to find out who really killed Hugh Jackman's character. And it's actually
That's weird.
it's actually a fun movie. I actually quite liked it. So give it a chance. Give it a chance, Jez. You and your girlfriend or fiance now.
Fiance.
Yeah, take a spin on the Sheep Detective,
sure.
bro. I might watch. So
I should
there's a couple movies I want to watch. I want to watch Obsession. I'm gonna want to watch this He-Man movie.
Obsession's so good.
I want to watch Ready or Not 2, which I think also just came out. So we got some stuff to watch. Books to read, games to play. It's a lot of things to do. All right. So what else we got here? We got Logan Meyer says Xbox tease, and his other question is like, would you jump in? Probably not. I don't think so. And that's I think part of the problem Google and Amazon had is like people are situated. You know, I mean, Phil did infamously say we lost the worst generation to lose because everybody was locking in their digital libraries, and so it's like everybody's sort of where there are. So I don't know. I don't really see. You might have like small things or a small company come in and do something, but not like on the level of Xbox or whatever. I don't know. Isn't like Atari still making something or something like that? But the only company I could see coming in and doing anything is Apple, because like Jez says, they do make these Apple TV devices or the streaming box devices, and it's like, well, and I always hear every year like, oh, this is gonna be the year that this is gonna be a game console, and it's whatever, and it never happens. So, but then Apple was gonna make a car at one point too, right? What happened to that?
Yeah, God.
And didn't Apple also make those ridiculously overpriced, expensive VR helmets, or
which are now
things,
cancelled.
which also nobody wanted.
Yep. And they've got a $2,400 folding phone coming out next year, apparently.
Oh, okay, great.
You gonna buy that?
No, absolutely not.
$2,400 phone.
We got Logan Meyer. So this Xbox teased 25th anniversary stuff this week. Any idea what Xbox is cooking up for celebrations at all? I mean, one, we don't even know if there is going to be a celebration. We assume so. I do think there will be, but we don't know for sure. And if there is, they already announced the Back Compat for PC stuff, so like they could easily have more Back Compat stuff there. But I don't know. I don't know what you would have during a 25th anniversary stream, to be honest with you. You know, outside of just a retrospective and things like that. I mean, they didn't really have much at the 20th anniversary outside of what it was. The final Back Compat list, and then the the launch of the Halo multiplayer, which pissed people off at Xbox that didn't know about it. Right?
Yep.
I don't know. What do we expect, Jez? Something similar? A stream of some kind? Some touching videos, a touching retrospective. Maybe they get some former leaders to talk about, like Peter Moore and maybe Phil or Don Matrick to talk about Xbox.
I don't think they'll go that far, man.
I'm just saying, you know. And then
I'm not expecting a ton. Put it that way.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We got Silas says, "Hey mates, if you could be one of the best athletes in the world in a certain sport, what sport would it be, and what position would you play?" Jez would be like soccer, and I would be a striker.
No. Rugby and prop forward.
I'm surprised.
I used to play rugby as a kid.
You told me how much like Messi was your favorite athlete ever. I thought you'd be kind of like Messi.
Blech.
No?
Fuck Messi.
What sport? I mean, my favorite sport was always baseball. So it probably would be baseball, and it probably would be first base. For sure. We got Shay Elephant. Happy Friday, Rand and Jez. Do you think free-to-play games like Roblox should be legally restricted from copying other games? Like recently, the Backrooms and Mecha Chameleon. They get away because those are user-generated content, but do you think it's unfair they use those contents for their own gains and as a result harm the sales of the original game? Thank you. Very, very good question. Very interesting.
That is a very good question. I think like it's a tough one because games are pretty much they're all inspired by other games. But there's a game I'm playing right now, which is like it really wears its inspirations on its sleeve to the point that it punches you in the face. And it's like, yeah, it does the inspiration very well, but it's very like, I know where you got this inspiration, right? So it's kind of like the whole Power World argument, right? Nintendo wanted to sue Power World. People were calling it Pokemon with guns, and Nintendo hated that, so they sued them. They tried to patent being able to summon monsters and stuff. So I do think it's a slippery slope. You know, when it comes to what's an inspiration and what's a rip-off and so on and so forth. It is really tough. I just think Roblox is pretty much an evil, scummy platform in of itself. But you've also got like, you know, I remember when Flappy Bird came out, and within like half an hour there was about 20 Flappy Bird clones flooding the store. You know, how many clones are there of stuff like Angry Birds? I think Angry Birds in itself was a rip-off. Like even Vampire Survivors wasn't the original. Like there was Vampire Survivors copied some Android game, and this spawned an entire genre. Like it's a tough one, man. I think but this is like one of the reasons why I support the idea of free xCloud with ads, because anything that hurts Roblox potentially is good for the industry. That's kind of like how I feel about it.
Mm.
But I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know the legalities around that stuff. But yeah, I also don't like Roblox. So I'm not surprised. Mecha Chameleon blows up on Steam, and there's Mecha Chameleon games on Roblox. But that's the whole thing. It's user-generated content. So, you know, should there be laws to protect against that? Maybe. But I think the idea is like we should just ban Roblox. I think that's probably for the best.
I think banning Roblox would be a fantastic idea. I
Yeah.
like that idea.
Goggles Lens, Google's Lens. Goggles. The Back Compat is great to see, especially with Play Anywhere. This seems to be the way moving forward with Helix games being mainly PC games as the format. The Ubisoft situation is interesting because these ports are better than nothing, but not much better. I thought achievements were mandatory. Is he talking about the Ubisoft games that were added to Xbox PC? They don't have achievements?
No, there's no mandatory. There's no requirement to ship a game with achievements on Xbox PC.
Oh, but there are on console though.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
On console, if you want to be visible in this, I think you can put a game on Microsoft Store on Xbox that doesn't have achievements. But I think if you want it visible in the Xbox Store without having to be explicitly searched for, it's got to support all the Xbox kind of features, I think.
Okay.
So you can't. I could upload a UWP game to the Xbox Store, and people could search for it and download it, but it wouldn't show up in any kind of algorithm or recommendation list or anything like that.
Right. He says not having cross save is the main thing. No Play Anywhere is not too bad because it's Ubisoft, so they will be 50% off in a few months. But for your console game saves not to move over means you have to restart games that you probably already played before. I think Xbox should have more of a backbone against these publishers for Xbox players' sake, but that is harder done said when there is smaller platform. What do you guys think? I'm sure Xbox is just happy Ubisoft decided to put their games on their platform, to be honest with you. Like, I know the idea is like, well, they need to support Play Anywhere and all these sort of things, but Ubisoft has their own cross-platform save service. Like you could play Assassin's Creed right now, it saves to the Ubisoft cloud. I could then play the game on PlayStation and pick up right where they left off. So
Ubisoft Connect, right?
Yeah, they have their own system for that stuff. So they probably
Baldur's Gate as well does. Baldur's the irritating thing is like the achievements aren't retroactive. So like if I downloaded Black Flag, for example, on the Xbox Ally, played a bunch, didn't get any Xbox achievements, those achievements wouldn't pop next time I logged on Xbox, or at least I don't think they do.
I don't know
Maybe
either.
do. I don't know.
But I would imagine Xbox is just happy to get their games on the platform, and since Ubisoft runs their own thing, they're probably, I don't know. That's the problem with Xbox Play Anywhere, is like you sort of need everybody to do it, but then there's a lot of companies that won't because they already do their own sort of thing on the side. So
yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's not you can't begrudge Ubisoft or EA for wanting to have their own platform delivery mechanisms, but it's also, as an Xbox fan, it's so annoying when I see, like, for example, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It's available on Ubisoft Plus Classics, which I get through Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. I can see it there. It's handheld optimized for the Xbox Ally. I scroll down, capabilities, not Xbox achievements, not Xbox Cloud, and the rest of it. So I'm sitting there wondering, like, okay, so if I download this, do I not get any form of cloud saves or whatever? I think you do, like you said, with Ubisoft Connect, but it doesn't say that here. I have no idea if it does. I have no idea if that works. You know, it's weird, man.
Hey,
They need to handle this stuff better.
Jez, you need to go back to school. You need to, because Arizona State University is now offering a degree in becoming an influencer.
Oh, shit.
Students must build a social media account and prove they can gain real followers to graduate. Dude, you should do that. You should get your degree.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
I wonder who they have teaching the class. I wonder if it's like one of those YouTube gurus.
Logan Paul.
I wonder if it's like one of those YouTube gurus
Andrew Tate.
who always like I can. You'll see these on YouTube sometimes, like how to grow your channel to million subs, and they'll have this video, and then you look at the channel and it's like you got 2,000 subs. Like why would I take advice from someone who can't even grow their own YouTube channel? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it's like taking advice about how to lose weight from a dude who's like 450 pounds. Why would you do that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. We have Frosty who says, "Hey guys, happy Friday. Jez, have you heard anything about a potential native Xbox cloud streaming app for iOS and Android? After Ball's recent announcement about the free cloud streaming service, it seems like cloud will still be important for Xbox under the Asha regime. A native app for mobile would really help the experience and quality over relying on web browsers."
Yeah, so I don't know what the plan is there, but I do think one of the big issues here is that Apple and Google don't want to play nice with Microsoft and help them in any way, shape, or form. And obviously, that's a big problem if you want to ship stuff on their platform. So, my guess will be no. My guess will be Microsoft will continue to invest in the web version. And you can just, like, go to download Microsoft Edge for free, go to xbox.com/play, and then pin that as a website, as a web app in your browser. And then it functions then as an app, essentially. I know people don't want to jump through those hoops and they want like automatic updates and that kind of thing. And that's kind of the problem with some of this stuff. Is that if Xbox wants to capture that audience, it kind of needs to be on the stores, which is that's how people access their shit, is via these stores. So for me, I would hope they are thinking about ways of doing this. And at least in the European Union, they've kind of been forced to open up their stores to competitors. Google just got fined €1 billion, by the way, which is about $1 billion, about the same amount. They got fined $1 billion with a B for being anti-competitive. And you would hope that as a result of that ruling, there'd actually be some change about how they deliver some of that stuff. But so far, there's not really been any movement on any of that stuff. I suppose I could try and find out, but we'll have to wait and see, man. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Pat Rock says, this year's been big on Final Fantasy for me. I beat Final Fantasy 1 when it came to Game Pass, followed by Remake in March, 16 earlier this month, and Rebirth yesterday. I thought I'd be burned out by Final Fantasy by now, but I somehow can't get enough. During the last absolute amazing Xbox Store sale, I picked up Final Fantasy 15 as well as Stranger of Paradise. Have y'all played these? What do y'all like or dislike about them, and which do you think I should jump into next? I haven't played one.
Sorry, go on.
I played Remake and I thought I liked it a lot. Although I didn't love it, but it was fun. I haven't played Rebirth yet. 15 I only played for a few hours and I dropped it for something else. Not because I didn't like the game, but something else came out that I wanted to play more. And I have not played Stranger of Paradise. I did play Final Fantasy 16, which, I mean, I played through the whole thing and did like all the quests or whatever, and I had a really good time playing that. So if you haven't played 16, I'd recommend that.
I couldn't finish 16 because I frankly despised
You didn't like
the
the combat.
gameplay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the combat was. I thought it was ass. Needed a hard mode out of the box. I hate this trend of locking hard mode behind
I know. It
a
sucks.
completion.
I
I
know.
don't have time. I wish devs would stop doing it. But
Why do
yeah,
they
I
do
never.
it, you think?
I suppose to hope people play it again, boost engagement. But I don't think many people do that. But not last year, the year before, I also had a Final Fantasy spree. I think that's when Pixel Remakes came to Xbox and Cloud, and I played Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3 back to back, all on Cloud. Had a blast. I did that. That was like my Christmas gaming session. I love every Final Fantasy for different reasons, except for 15 and 16. I think the modern games are pretty terrible, but everything up to then is fantastic. I haven't played Trains of Paradise, although, like you, I bought it in the sale. That's kind of one of them, like, I'll get round to it. I also bought Crisis Core in the sale out of, like, morbid curiosity. But I think the best Final Fantasy games are clearly 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 12 to some degree. Obviously, 11's an MMO, 14's an MMO. But yeah, you can't go wrong with them. I think they're all just fantastic in their own ways. There's also like a bunch of Final Fantasy adjacent games like Bravely Default HD, which is now on the Xbox Store, Play Anywhere. There's also like the Octopath Traveler games, which I want to play. And it's just one of them, like, just not enough time. Not enough time. Dragon Quest as well. I want to play those too. It's like, how can I find more time? I think really if game developers want to find real growth, they need to invent a time machine,
Mm.
bro.
Yeah, they probably do, don't they?
Because then it could be like, well, I'll travel back in time and play this game, and then I'll travel back in time and play this game.
Sure would be nice.
Hmm.
We have John, who says, "Hey, Jez and Rand, do you think that the mostly great reviews for Halo Campaign Evolve will encourage Xbox to remake older Halo games rather than creating something new? Halo Studios 343 seem incapable of creating anything matching the quality of the earlier games. My worry is that this approach would not be system sellers or drive new users to the platform. What say you?" I don't see why you just couldn't have another studio make the Halo remakes with just some of people at 343 overseeing, or Halo Studios overseeing it, while the majority of the people there work on a brand new Halo game. I don't see why it's like. I also don't see like the entirety of like Halo Studios working on a remake. I don't think they did the heavy lifting on this Halo game. I think it was
They don't know.
outsourced. I don't think so.
I don't know much about it.
But so I don't really see why they couldn't do like how Capcom does, where it's like, here's a remake of Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, and then here's Resident Evil 8, and then here's Resident Evil 4 remake, and then here's Resident Evil 9, where it's like, okay, yeah, here's Halo 1 and Halo 2, boom, here's brand new Halo, and then here's Halo 3 and Halo Reach, and then whatever, here's a new Halo. Like, I don't see how they couldn't adapt that approach, you know?
Mm.
Let's see what else here. We have Murray. Hey, Rand and Jez. Jez, do you know if they include the PC side of things in licensing negotiations for console back compat, or do they have to negotiate again for every single game to bring it to PC?
Good question. I think I would like to believe that when they did the initial legwork on this, they negotiated, hey, maybe one day we want to bring this to PC, because I did hear a long time ago that they were working on this shit already. But I would want to believe that they've negotiated that stuff out already, and it's just a matter of time now. I'm sure there'll be some games that they didn't win negotiations on because maybe those games still sell on Steam. And they're like, console's fine, but maybe not Steam. But we will, I suppose, find out together in the coming months.
Yeah, interesting if they did that. I would say probably not, but that's just me. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they're starting with 4 games that they own, and not like a.
Yeah.
See what he says. Hey fellas, hope your week has been going well. What's the deal with Booty? What games could he be alluding to if not Fallout and Elder Scrolls? Feels weird from stepping out of line with Asha and Ball's messaging. Could we see Booty out of his role sooner rather than later? Something about Booty stinks. Ain't that the truth? Booty stinks. All booty stink. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems like his comment specifically refers to like Fallout and Elder Scrolls, does it not, Jez?
Yeah, I think so. I think those are the games that have a big question mark over them. Maybe the next Doom as well, the next Wolfenstein.
Potentially,
It's
yeah.
but like Rand said, you can't move the needle unless you risk it on some
You're
of
not
these games.
serious. You're not serious if yeah, you said.
Yeah.
If those games aren't exclusive, you're not serious. So like, drop the act. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like if you just have one, like one exclusive year ain't gonna do shit. I'm sorry, Clockwork Revolution isn't gonna move anybody anywhere. It might be a great game, and it probably will be, but ain't nobody buying it. And you specifically said we need to give people a reason to buy Xbox hardware. Ain't that, buddy? Gears ain't it either. Like, I hate to tell you this, but Fallout 5, Elder Scrolls, like the whole library, yeah, there's a good chance. It'll take time. It'll take years. Are they going to give Asha the time and the years to be able to do this? Are they going to give her 10 years to do everything that she wants to do? That's the question.
Yeah.
That's the question. Panda Man says, hey guys, gaming is an all-time high. Been playing Neon White, Dead Zone, Rogue. Think this is a genre of roguelite FPSs needs to grow more. Dense Attack and Borderlands 3. I picked up a lot of these games through the bundle or discounts on Fanatical, Humble Bundle. Do you think Xbox will ever follow suit in a way Steam has cheaper games through third-party stores? Not through their own store, I don't think. No.
Yeah, probably not. I don't know. Distribution's difficult. I suppose, like, I would like to see it. I mean, they have explored this in the past. If you remember, if people have been watching the show for a long time, you might remember there was a brief window where you could buy Xbox games through the Xbox 2 podcast.
Yeah.
There was a company that was trying to do that, and Microsoft kind of shut it down, I guess. But I do think I don't know. I guess it just wasn't worth it. I guess Xbox as a platform wasn't big enough. I suppose if like it'd be different if Xbox had like 1 billion users, but we're absolutely nowhere near that, and we're probably never going to be near that. So it's probably not worth it for them. I guess if I had to guess. I can't see it myself.
We have, it's quite small, but smells like a big one. Jez, the classic British film Threads is releasing on 4K Blu-ray next week. I've never seen it. Anything I should know before diving into movie night with the family?
Threads. I haven't watched Threads because everyone I know says it's absolutely the worst, most devastating movie, and I'm kind of nervous about watching it now. So all I know is I haven't seen it either, but prepare yourself. Kind of what I would say. Apparently, it's absolutely devastating. So yeah, prepare yourself, man. That's all the advice I can give. It's kind of legendary in Britain.
Good old Conwood says, hello, Rand and Jez. Rand, which would be the priority? Read Homer's The Odyssey or watch Nolan's The Odyssey? Definitely watch Nolan's The Odyssey. I'm not saying I won't read Homer's The Odyssey, but I really don't have any desire to read it. But I do really like Christopher Nolan's movies, so definitely that one, for sure. Abso-freaking-lutely.
I think it's hard to read older books and stuff sometimes.
No, not
because they're
necessarily.
written in the sort of like old English.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get into classics. Like I have East of Eden. I want to read. I read Count of Monte Cristo, which is one of the best books I've ever read in my life. Like Count of Monte Cristo is like 10 out of 10.
What's that about?
Count of Monte Cristo. You never heard of it? It's like
the
ultimate like revenge novel. Like
Yeah.
Count of Monte Cristo is a guy basically gets betrayed by his best friend and thrown in prison for 20 years. And the guy he gets like thrown in there with like teaches him to read and teaches him how to like fight swords and stuff, and then tells him about his secret treasure. So when he escapes, he finds the secret treasure and becomes like super rich, and then takes on this persona of like a count, super rich, all to like uh take revenge on the people who wronged him. And then he finds the main person who wronged him married the girl that he was in love with that he was supposed to marry, and they have a son together.
Huh.
It's like the ultimate revenge novel. It's like there's been so many TV adaptations or movie adaptations and stuff, but the book is,
It's John Wick.
I mean, there's no dog in it, but
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, classics are classics for a reason. They've stood the test of time. They're great, partially because of that, but also because maybe they're the first one to,
Come up with it.
yeah,
Coin a genre.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I read Lonesome Dove, which also might be one of the best books I've ever read. Like Count of Monte Cristo and Lonesome Dove. And Lonesome Dove is literally a Western. There's like no plot in the movie outside of like, hey, we're going to Montana and we're doing a cattle drive, and that's it. It's a cattle drive to Montana or Nebraska from where they're at. And that's the book. And it's like 900 pages long. And it's the most compelling shit you'll ever read, because the characters are so like amazing and the dialogue is exactly how you would imagine people back then like speaking, but it's so real, and it's just I don't even know how to describe it. Like, and I'm not someone who likes westerns, and I read this book and I was just enthralled by it. It's so good. Same thing with Count of Monte Cristo. You need to read these books, Jez.
I'll get there.
Count of Monte Cristo is also like 1,500 pages or whatever. But yeah.
A lot of pages.
That's a lot. Just James93 says, hey guys, been a while. Not sure if this has been asked, but apparently Xbox has announced original Xbox achievements according to Pure Xbox. They did. I mean, Xbox themselves announced it. If it happens, it will be cool. My question is, what game would you go back to achievements? Mine is KOTOR. There are a few games I go back on. I'm not really sure I would. But I mean, I guess if I had to choose one, maybe it's KOTOR. Although, like, I sort of wonder if my love of, like, KOTOR would, like, because I haven't played it since then, would I be like, ooh, this looks bad? I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? But, I mean, KOTOR was one of my favorites, or, like, Jedi Academy, or one of the, like, Star Wars Jedi games, if they have those. Maybe me and Jez could do some co-op and Brute Force, if they had Brute Force, or something. Yeah.
I remember that.
Super chat here. We have Champagne Supernova says, Halo got some odd reviews because of Xbox layoffs. Will Wolverine get dinged for killing physical, impacting 5,000 jobs industry-wide and small businesses? Probably not.
It won't affect anything.
Probably not. And he also says, can't get to my backlog. I get a few hours a night and I spend it with my squad in Battlefield 6. I bring the ally to the shitter. How do you tackle your backlog? By not really having a backlog, really. Or a big one. I have a backlog of books. And it's ever growing, and I always try to, like, pick at it, and it just keeps on getting bigger. I guess, like...
Yeah, I chip away at it.
Yeah. Jez,
I come back to Doom the Dark Ages after a year, and I finished it in, like, 1 or 2 sittings. Just because the DLC and because I felt bad about it, and
you loved it, right? You loved the DLC.
I love the DLC, but also like the base game. Like, I think one of the issues, with me and Doom the Dark Ages was it felt the pacing at the very start of the game is off, because like you sort of you lose control of Doom Guy quite a lot in the first third of the game, where it's like whether it's a cutscene, whether it's like, jumping in a mech or riding a dragon or using a turret, and I kind of felt like this ain't the Doom that I like. I want to be Doom guy. But like after that initial sort of first quarter or third of the game, where it's like, oh yeah, here's the new toys we made for Doom the Dark Ages. The rest of the game is pretty much okay. Now you're just Doom guy for the rest of the game. It's like, okay, that's what I wanted, and it's there. It's just hiding behind this initial sort of first quarter of the game where, for whatever reason, they felt it necessary to add a dragon with pretty much on rails, very boring shooting mechanics.
Mm.
Hated that dragon so much, man. I think
Mm.
it was terrible. That dragon should have been in cutscenes only, and that's it. It should never have been rideable.
Yeah, I feel like the
But
dragon probably you keep the mech, but the dragon stuff.
mech was okay. The dragon was terrible. The lock-on mechanic, like completely undermining the point of being able to fly in the first place. Just awful, awful decision they made putting the dragon in to destroy the pacing of those areas where it existed. I don't know, it's just terrible. But yeah, man, I ended up loving the game. But like, I've also recently completed Signalis. That's been in my backlog since forever, and I don't know why I randomly decided to play Signalis, but god damn, that game was amazing. Absolutely incredible game. Incredible game. And I'm still kind of sitting here thinking about it. And that it's kind of one of them where you have to play through multiple times to get the real ending. So I'm gonna go back to that as well. But Jesus, that game is a mind fuck. Absolutely fantastic game. But yeah, just chip away at the backlog. Do it here and there between big releases. That's kind of how I approach it.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I think we've hit everything. Anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here? What are your plans for the rest of the night and the weekend?
Me? I'm gonna try and do nothing this weekend. I'm kind of tired, exhausted. Play some Xbox Ally. Play some more game, redacted game I can't speak about. And rock on, I guess. Did you get all the super chats?
Yeah, I got them all.
All right, cool beans. Yeah, I think that's me, man. That's me.
Yeah, I'm gonna play some Halo, get all the skulls and stuff, and then yeah, maybe I don't know. I'm just debating on what to watch. Maybe I'll watch He-Man. So I usually watch a movie on the weekend, but other than that, we will be back next week. See what's going on in the industry. I think next week is what? Is it beginning of? No, it's still July next week. It's July 31st next week on Friday. So this has been episode 415. I'm Rand. That's Jez. And we'll see you next weekend. Enjoy yourself and keep it gaming. Later, everybody.
Rock on, baby.